Aaron.
That's what I was wondering, because Stephan had told me you did some medical sales stuff. That's what I do too, or did. I've been laid off since September, but it's been a bummer, man, because West Virginia's not a hotbed of those jobs, clearly.
Hello? You hear me?
Yeah. Can't see either one of you guys, but we can hear you.
Do you still have your studio?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as things open back up, we should be good.
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah, if you guys are on an iPhone or something, you might need to swipe over or allow. There he is.
You really need to see me?
Oh yeah, we have to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, Scully.
Yeah.
Remember this thing?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm gonna leave and then I'll join back up. Oh, look at that! I see that.
look at him.
Yeah.
Oh
Come
wow.
on, buddy.
Might be the first person to
Right.
podcast on one of those things, huh? At the same time.
A ripstick.
Ripstick. Is that what it's called now? Because I think I remember that. You just go back and
Yeah.
forth.
Me and Scully used to have that big office with a half pipe in it. It was
Really?
like 6,000 square feet, and that's how I learned to ride one of these.
Damn. So, Jeff, you got an office like that? If not, you're not doing shit right, man.
I'm not.
And we were
I'm
paying
definitely not.
$1,000 a month. Fuck,
What's that?
But I
$1,000
did
a
used to
month. What a
skate
deal.
half pipes.
Did you?
Yeah,
Well,
Just
No
skater.
way.
was a
No
skater
way.
back in the day.
Fuck, that is so hard, man. Scully was decent, not on any California style level, but dude, I was terrible. I just crashed.
there you are.
What's happening?
Come on, Chris.
What's up? I'm back.
What's wrong?
Uh,
What's wrong?
so you're a pretty good skateboarder? Is that what he's saying?
I was decent in high school,
Yeah. Yeah, well. So I
and then I
joined,
got tied up
How
in
old are you?
sports. I'm
How old are you
44.
now? When's the last time you've been on a ramp?
Actually, in probably 1997 when I was in college.
No way, over 20 years?
Yeah.
Wow. Since 22 years, every cell in your body is new.
Is what?
And yet, your cells, you have all new cells by now, a totally different body. But if you were to get on a ramp, you'd remember how to do it. It's like riding a bike. It's in you.
Yeah, I think it'd take a minute. Probably take a minute or two.
Well, you just wouldn't fall and crash like I
Well, I would fall. I fell a lot. I broke some bones.
Relax.
Scully,
Well,
You play
it goes with the territory.
That's
You-
true.
You don't fight gravity and come away unscathed, Here, I'll chop you off. Relax.
What was that, Butch?
so you play some guitar?
I play a little guitar. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. I have a guitar, and I took it out during this thing to play around with my kids, but I can't play. I think I got it to get girls back in high school or something, and
Totally. That's exactly what I did. I learned the beginning of Dust in the Wind, and then I don't know, when I was 35 or something, I was like, man, just why don't you try to do something all the way through? And so I've been playing since then.
Well, so are you musically inclined?
It's so stupid, Tom. You're 35 when you started. You're never going to be good.
No, I don't think so. I think just.
No, remember Smolin said that to you?
Yeah. Quit beating the kid, man.
No, he gets pissed when when I talk.
Oh,
He gets pissed. I'm going to drop him off. He gets pissed when I'm on the phone.
That's not good.
Relax.
Don't want to be pissed. But I did
Well,
say
we were just hanging out, rip skating,
like,
skateboarding at the park, and now I got to go
a
drop him
bunch of
off.
songs, but just the part that everybody knows.
You ruined his day,
Maybe
guys.
Chords or something I can play, or
I disappoint my children all the time. I'm used to it.
Well put. Well put.
So, are you in Chicago still? No.
no, I'm in California, San Pedro, California.
Oh, are you? Okay, well, that's awesome. Well, that makes more sense. Not that Chicago wouldn't have an art studio, but kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't they have things in California labeled as art studios, but you go and they're just naked people? Does that make sense?
I don't know for sure, but ours is a little more subdued.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere because that was I used to have to go to LA, Valencia all the time actually for work. And then they said, well, there's these things labeled as art studios, but they're really, I don't know if they're like
Sounds porno.
places or something. Yeah, there's something, you know, where they have some people. So
Howdy,
interesting
partners.
none the least, but yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah. No, this is like a traditional screen printing shop, like serigraphy. So like we print for like Dale Chihuly, Bob Dylan, like really big artists that can afford the process. It's a super expensive, time-consuming process.
How long have you been in California? Or
Almost 10 years now.
really? Well, that's a long time. Do you like it better than the other, like from other cities? You know what I mean? Like colder, like obviously place that has all 4 seasons and stuff like that, or doesn't matter?
I liked my time in Chicago. I like the ocean. I fish all the time, so that was the draw. So I really like the ocean.
Mm.
But if I had my ways, I'd be in the country totally. If there was an ocean and a country,
Yeah.
that would be the dream.
Is there such a thing? Is it Ozark? Is that an ocean? That's probably just big lake.
Waterworld.
It's a big old water world.
Yeah. Water world. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Matt's here.
Yeah.
Hey, what up, boys?
What's happening, Matt? Welcome to
Not
the
much.
show.
And my laptop is not charged, so I had to get on my desktop. I don't have a camera, so you guys don't get to see my beautiful face.
Oh,
Bummer.
So
I've
you
been
guys,
waiting for a week, man.
I know.
FaceTime me
My
later.
MacBook finally died.
what, dude?
My MacBook finally died. It was from '09.
What's
I
that?
made the mistake of transporting it in my car, and it bounced around. Come on.
Yeah, so obviously this Jeff's podcast here is him, and usually his wife come on here and do a podcast, but she's busy today. She didn't want to hang out with a bunch of guys.
She'll show up for a minute, I'm sure. Ange
Yeah, you want
Fitco,
to?
she'll show up. That's what the Ange Fitco is with the picture. Obviously, that's not me.
Yeah,
But we have a paid account for her because she trains people online. So
yeah. So what have you guys all been doing since all this stuff's been going on? Anything good or same old junk? I mean, is everybody working still or not working, or what's going on with everybody?
I'm working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, nothing's really. Nothing's really changed for me too much. Except can't go to the gym. So I go to my buddy Joaquin's place. He's got a garage built out, fucking doing awesome gym.
Yeah.
He's my partner. Yeah, I think you met him, but he's with the gym.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. I mean, because
No, I just brought you to my gym. I don't think you met him. Anyway, he's my business partner.
yeah. I mean, we could go to that gym. I mean, we've been stuck in here for, it seems like 3-4 weeks or something. It might be hell. It's been a long time.
You've still been going to your gym, right?
No, not at all.
No.
You know, that's the other thing. Like,
you not even exercise?
No. We work out at the house. I'll be honest. I haven't done as much stuff as I had, but my wife's using this as time for me to do house projects, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't mean that I couldn't work out. I was actually thinking about it today. I was like, this has been a good excuse. I was like painting the bathroom and doing all that. I was like, I could still work out. There's time in the day, but I've been using an excuse not to,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. But it looks like it's going to, I don't know about here. Nobody knows for sure, right? But looks like it's going to start coming to end in May, right? It seems to.
I put a over under on it for a bunch of people on social media. I said my over under. I said June 1st. What do you say? And I'm talking going full blown back to normal.
Ooh, normal.
Total normal.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I say over.
I'm over on that.
Just for shit to be open again, I'm really optimistically hoping May,
I don't think gyms will be open before June or a lot of the public gathering.
Guidelines open in the gym in May, right? Like the national guidelines, but that doesn't mean like the interesting thing is what do you do for MMA or jiu-jitsu, right? Like we're in each other's face. We're not 6 feet apart. Clearly, we're sweating on each other, beating on each other, especially jiu-jitsu or whatever. You can't really fake that one. You know what I'm saying? You can't say like,
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it just depends on how big let's make it.
One of the dudes teaching at my gym teaches capoeira.
Yeah.
He's like, hey guys, I'm training a lot of my guys online. You know, you should try it. Like, yeah, do jujitsu on yourself. Here, choke yourself. You know, grab a pillow.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you said, because everybody else is doing, like I've been doing little groups with our gym. We'll do a Zoom meeting, but we don't train. We just sit and talk. But that's what we talk. I was like, man, if you guys want me to show moves or something, let me know. But realistically, you guys don't have nobody show any, to work stuff on. It's just me showing stuff on my kid or my wife that's going to be pissed off. So I was like, I'm not doing it in essence to do it.
Yeah. It's really, it would just be concepts of jiu-jitsu, which is just concepts.
Yeah, and actually we had a talk about that last night anyway, and just everybody was sitting there drinking beer and talking or something, and people are saying, hey, this is what I do against a little guy versus a big guy or something. And that works, right? But it was also just we spent more time talking about probably dick jokes than jiu-jitsu or something. I mean,
I've tried to practice chokes on Ange, but she only likes one type of choke. If I try any variation, she gets antsy. So,
yeah, I feel like girls that say they like to be choked don't really like to be choked when somebody knows how to choke them. I feel like it freaks them
I'm not
out.
sure I know how to, though. I think that's what makes her uncertain.
Yeah, I had some guys that had some good stories about that at the gym where they'd meet some girl online, say they like to choke, and I think they choke her like they do in jiu-jitsu, and they freak out. So, like, what are you doing? And they're like, I thought you liked to be choked. And they're like, no, not like that. Yes, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but whatever. So anyway, I guess, is there anything new going on with everybody? I guess anybody got something new to say or anything crazy?
I guess I'll just
some crazy
promote Hytiva a little bit. Everyone's locked in. Order your cannabis. Check out Hytiva, Hytiva, Cannabis on Demand. It's like an online cannabis resource, like Weed Maps, but more educational. And
nice.
Primarily a tech company. The same guys built the UFC's website, so it's on the same kind of structure. It's all the same coding, which is like 5 years to build. And when this happened, all the dispensaries got shut down. And everyone had to order online. Most of the people's systems couldn't handle the volume. But since that's primarily what this company is. We handled it no problem. Had to buy a bunch of new cars and everything.
Yeah. No, there was an
for
article.
The gym not so good, for Hytiva good.
There's an article talking about that, because that was the thing. Like, I think it's helped push everything through, right? Like, because of this, nobody, like you said, nobody could get anything. So the delivery method, I think, got kind of pushed through because of all this stuff, or at least like pushed ahead than it was,
Yeah, it really turned out to be think about like 90% of the businesses this is terrible for, most gyms around here are going to fold, but 10% of the businesses benefit.
Yeah.
Hytiva is one of them. Real water too, this is good stuff too. It keeps you healthy, good for your immune system. Electrolyzed reduced water is what they refer to it in scientific journals as. They've done a lot of research on it. Japan is really high on it because we nuked them twice, and it's really good to. They use this technology to clean out the rivers and lakes and everything after the devastation from the explosions. But it's good for 5G, keeping your cells clean, and then when your cells are clean, your immune system's strong. We add the electrons to the water, so it's like adding sunlight to it.
That's what
I don't know if you ever read Autobiography of a Yoga by Yogananda. Great book, but he says if your spiritual energy is high, you electrocute the germ, the disease germs when they come in. It keeps your system healthy. And I don't want to shit on anyone who's sick. This is a terrible virus, but I know me personally, every time I've gotten sick, it's been my fault. I've done it myself.
Yeah, well, I get sick all the time because I probably eat like dog shit. So I don't get sick all the time, but who knows? Hopefully, all of us are probably COVID free, I guess, huh? I'm assuming. So
it's scary because it's the asymptomatic. You could have it and have no real symptoms. So it's kind of, that's the one crazy thing about this whole thing is like I could
That's
have
why.
it.
Do we really need to shut down society for it? Like fucking, it's, so many people are asymptomatic. I might have it. Who knows? That's what who George Stephanopoulos is. His wife had it really bad, throwing up, fever, all that shit. And he said, "Oh, just for I was fine, no symptoms whatsoever, but I just got tested." And he has it, and no symptoms. So,
Yep.
I don't think
It's really weird.
shut the world down.
It's really weird that some people can have no symptoms and some people are literally dying. Just
They say it has a lot to. They say it has a lot to do too with your blood type.
Really? Yeah. I don't know what blood type I am.
For some reason,
if you're an A
tend to be
blood
more
type,
carriers than asymptomatic. I didn't know that about
A's
blood
bad,
type.
right? A bad.
the A is bad. A is really bad. Like if you're A blood type. Yeah, so stay
And I
inside,
strived for
Scully.
A's my whole
I'm
life.
not worried about it.
Yeah.
Rather live than worry about dying.
Yeah.
But you're going to live. I think that, like you said, you just take the proper precautions and go about life. But yeah, to shut down everything, you can't hold people back. We were out today, and it just was a flood of cars on Corridor G, Butch. And I was like, you can't hold people back for a month.
No.
They're not going to stay in.
Well, people are rioting right now, or not really rioting, protesting, right? Going to the capitals and protesting.
Yeah, the biggest protests were in Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan and somewhere else, I think. And I think something's going on in Virginia too, but I don't know if that's the right way to do it or not. But hell, I mean, that guy in California, right? He just got a ticket for teaching jiu-jitsu, which he wasn't even teaching. He was filming videos for his students to put up online. And I guess the police drove out and gave him a ticket because they were not following the rules or something, And it wasn't. They had like 3 or 4 guys there because they were practicing moves, and they got taken.
Well, the odds are pretty good, but you jiu-jitsu guys are freaking crazy. So it probably.
But yeah, I would say it. On the other hand, you would think that because we're in each other's face so much, literally sweating at each other, doing some weird stuff.
Oh, it's the filthiest sport.
But I think that's also why people aren't scared, right? It's so filthy. And you've got to deal with ringworm and,
I know. And think out 20 years of jiu-jitsu. And I don't ever remember being sick from jiu-jitsu besides a little ringworm and stuff.
Yeah. And it happens all the time. You're in somebody's face and then 2 days later, they're not at the gym because they got the flu, right? And then you're like, ah, shit. And then sometimes you get sick, sometimes you don't. But in general, though, because you're doing jiu-jitsu, working out all the time, those guys I think you're in a better class, right? People don't get as sick as much, right? They're healthier and whatnot. So,
well, my whole theory on it is that your white blood cells need some exercise. If you just try to be super clean, no germs, first sign of a germ, you get sick. If your body's used to fucking filth and germs and people sweating and their fucking gross feet up on you and all that, and you don't get sick, that's because your white blood cells are really fucking strong.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Because, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, think of all the stuff you probably touch or did, especially when we went through airports, subways, all that stuff. That's a germ thing. We're getting it all over our hands. I might not wash my hands forever because I'll be around. I'm sure I've put my, fingers in my mouth and had the filthiest filth. And I think, obviously, it's made me stronger to a certain degree, right? I mean, it is.
That goes through my mind sometimes when I'm sitting there trying to fucking ask someone, my face is right here, and I'm like, God, this is so gross. I got someone's armpit in me trying to north-south choke me in my face and smothering me. How disgusting.
Yeah. No, that's happened to me one time. Training in my basement with a guy. I think I had him in a triangle. It was a weird position. It was kind of reverse triangle. So then he ended up at north-south on me, and he triangled me. So we're both in a triangle for a while, and we're kind of grunting, both trying to finish the move. And I was like, man, let's stop. And he's like, why are you going to tap? And I was like, no, man, my wife's upstairs. We're basically in a 69. If she walks down and hears us, grunt or something, it's not going to go well, man, So he's like, all right, but it's definitely some weird stuff, man.
My one student, Will, fucking smells, man. And every time he wants to roll and do jiu-jitsu, I'm like, you better fucking, did you shower today? Oh, yesterday. And no, you gotta fucking shower the day we roll.
Why does he do that in Las Vegas? That's probably sweat all the time.
Yeah. So gross, man. Fucking shower, dude, before you roll.
Yeah. That's the only good thing.
I mean, the same day, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I literally can't smell. It's like, I mean, I can kind of smell, I guess, like something like cigarette smoke or something like that. I can kind of smell, but it's far less than everybody else. Like it takes me a while to figure it out, you know? So when people smell, I have no clue. It's a good thing and a bad thing, you know? Like for the same thing, like when my kids were little, they'd have shit running up their back and I'd just be sitting right next to them and be fine. And somebody would walk in the room and be like, oh, dear God, what is that? And I, you know, which is terrible because my kid could have been sitting in a crappy diaper for hours. I have no earthly idea. You know, that's like the downside. Or is a good excuse to not do anything, make my wife clean that diaper anyway, right? Either or kind of works out, you know?
Yeah, I've broken my nose a bunch, and you do lose some of your smell each time, but like, you know, old stinky ass armpit or crotch, I can still smell that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, and we're right in that stuff too, so there's nothing to do about it, huh? Did your
Dude,
son?
I was like Pee Wee wrestling. That was one of my first memories. Wrestling, I think fucking, was it Harvey Cyclones, all black, but the dude gave me a head for a hip toss, and I was bridging off my back in his armpit the whole round. I was so sore the next day, the whole round. And he smelled so fucking bad. I was like, I'm not gonna put my shoulders down. I just stayed in that stinky ass armpit.
I mean, some people, that was an old thing. I mean, you probably didn't do it, but that was the thing people joked
That's
about.
hard.
That they're like, I'm not going to shower before a fight, or I'm not going to do this or do that, right? I'm going to stink as hell and whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When your adrenaline's at that level, fuck, you know?
Well, you're just going to hit them harder. You'd be like, you fucking stink, you fucking bastard, right? It doesn't matter. So, did you and Tom go to school together? Where did you guys meet?
Yes, sir.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Take it, Tom.
Many schools.
Yeah. So since you guys were little tiny kids, or?
Yeah. Since we're three, we've been expelled.
This is Dixon's.
Yeah, we've been expelled together even when we went to separate schools. We were teams.
Yeah, he got kicked out of Munster High School, so he had to go to Brother Rice High School, a Catholic school, and he got expelled the same year I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Got some jokes to Scully, but we're not going to do it.
No?
Just Catholic school jokes.
Oh, yeah. That's
yeah.
okay.
I just hope you made it out.
I made it, man. I was even an altar boy. So
Really? And you still made it?
I made it, man. Oh, well, I did not graduate from Catholic school. No.
Well, not
Brother Rice, he just went 1 year, though.
I think he's saying you didn't get molested.
Yes.
I did not get. I was such a troublemaker. There was no way that, like,
any teacher would touch him.
Yeah.
Good work. Very good move.
They hated him.
You know what would be good, though, for the podcast? If we, like, backgrounds on, like, Scully. Like, I'm Jeff. We've met now.
Yeah.
Steven, like, a little bit about Scully. Scully, tell us about yourself.
Oh, well, what would you like? Where would you like me to start? In regard, Stephan, stories with Stephan. Should we start?
Good looking man. We could start there. He's just a fine looking gentleman, right? Like he plays the guitar.
Well, obviously, yes.
How did I get so good at fighting, Scully?
There we go. We go.
I'd like to believe that I had a certain hand in that.
His mouth had a lot to do with it.
Oh, so
he got you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. But I wasn't like that's not to say that I was like afraid myself and like, ran.
You were fighting too, yeah.
I was comfortable getting my ass kicked. That was fine. But Stephan was just like, it would kind of be like, someone would smart off to me. I've always been pretty good with my words. I'd say something that didn't match the body that I was stuck in. They took great offense to it.
I've been there.
What's that?
You got to understand, Tom
there.
was a real late bloomer. He was really small. Like he's like 6 foot now. You would never known it, but he was half the size of the other kids.
Huh.
Yeah.
So people would think, "Oh my God, I can't beat up this little squirt. I'm gonna kick the skinny beanpole's ass."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was kind of like that. Well, he would say something because Stephan was like tall and really skinny, and he kind of had a slow
Unassuming.
all about him where he kind of like bait him in with something that like was smart ass, but like they didn't like hearing it and they didn't like the way he said it. And so all the attention would be immediately focused on him. And you know, I'd be like, careful, he's gonna beat the shit out of you, you stupid bastard. And they'd be like, fuck you, man, I'm gonna fuck him up so bad. And I'm like, I'm just being honest. Like, you're going to get the living shit kicked out of you. And after you get the shit kicked out of you, I'm going to laugh in your face. So, I mean, otherwise apologize and you can walk away. You know, it's something like that, you know?
Yeah, they're like, shut the fuck up. Well, and that's the other, so this is Chicago, right? So the other thing is, I mean, for people like, Jeff didn't always grow up in West Virginia, but like sometimes when people don't understand, like people in the city run their mouth all the time, right? That's just the thing you do. Like I'm from Cleveland. Right, like, and so meaning like you say fuck you to somebody, they say fuck you. Like and it doesn't mean you're gonna fight, but everybody's just on edge. I think because you're in traffic all day, you're trying to get somewhere. There's so many people, and you know everybody like, you know what I mean. I think it's just different than West Virginia. Like there's 4 cars on the road. You know what I mean. You're just chilled out.
Yeah.
They're smiling.
So we were from a suburb of Chicago, and it was like, you know, people wanted to like be tougher or something than Chicago, you know, like so there was like, you know, I don't know where, I mean, I got shit.
Just a lot of ego.
Yeah. People.
The perfect way to describe it is Tom would say something, would get their blood boiling so bad and they'd just be infuriated. And, you know, like I kind of would, you know, smart off to him too. And it's like,
it's tough.
Now their blood's boiling pissed. They want to hit someone. He's kind of too small, but this little fucking skinny beanpole that thinks he's tough. I have punch appeal too. Like there's something about me that people just want to punch me.
Yeah.
It's always like that, you know? No problem. My whole life. Now people know me, so it doesn't happen. But growing up, always, Tom would smart off, and I, you know, okay, you know, like, let's leave these inbreds alone, and then let's fucking, you're dead, man. And they'd all follow me out and try to,
yeah.
So you're a good counterpuncher. So you're good. You learned how to counterpunch.
Too. I lure them in too.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I don't, you know, yeah, I look.
He was never
growing up. I look like a pussy. I look like a total pussy. So.
Well, we have that in common.
I would think they'd have an easy time with me.
Huh. That's crazy. What's crazy about, I mean, Scully too, that's what I was saying. You're not small now. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say, well, that guy, you know, he's a little tiny. So that's crazy, huh? That,
you know, when he was 16, he was probably, what, Tom, about 100 pounds?
Oh, no, probably more than that. 16, I was probably like 120 or something, probably. Yeah, 120.
That's insane. Huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
And like 5'2", you know, like not a tall one.
But I like 5'10" because I kept on growing. I graduated like 157, like 5'10", 157 in high school.
Yeah.
When you were 18, yeah. Like when we had our scooters. Oh, you were 15 when you had your scooter. Yeah, you were tiny. We'd ride those scooters around everywhere, all around, you know, the Chicagoland area, man, and it was good times. Scooter days. It was complete freedom. You know,
those scooters aren't as cool as
kid
they are now, though, right? Like
Since you got
the same scooter you guys probably had, some big ass clunky thing. Now it's like the Razor scooter. You know what I mean? Like, and those scooters that are in California, right? That are motorized and stuff.
We had Honda scooters, like 49cc.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah, I had an Arrow, and he had a Honda Elite.
Huh.
Stephan actually fucking had this big fat dude, Dino Adamopoulos, like who crashed his scooter into a tree and bent the fork. And then so Stephan turned the fork around so it was like a funny bike where the wheel was sticking out the front of the fork.
A lowrider.
Cruised his scooter for, I don't know, an additional year like that.
Really? That's awesome, huh?
It's crazy.
Since you guys are from
off from Munster Car Wash.
Since you guys are from Chicago, I switched my hat up. I went with the Bears, my team.
Nice. The Bears.
Bear down.
Well,
Bear down, baby.
Is tomorrow that Chicago Bulls thing, right, on ESPN, I think?
Yes, I can't freaking wait. I'm a Jordan worshiper, so this is huge for me.
The documentary comes out?
Yeah, the 10,
what is it?
10 it's the 10, I guess 10 episode series starting on Sundays at 9. It's The Last Dance. I guess they're
Oh yeah.
it should be good.
I remember seeing the preview.
Were you guys big?
God, what a
Bulls
good
fans?
time to be a fucking Bulls fan in the '90s, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think in general, like so I'm obviously, like I said, I was from Cleveland. If that was to be the thing, like Cleveland would be awesome. They would win 57 games. I think never got to 60, but really, and they were the same division, so they'd be the team to beat. And I think, like, obviously Jordan hit the shot against them, all that stuff. But those are years that they weren't supposed to beat the Cavs, So personally, I hated Jordan for a long time because of all that stuff. But then really by the end, like, then you couldn't not like him because they won it all the time. I mean, I guess I didn't like him as much as I do now, but who couldn't like their announcer?
You respect greatness.
That stuff was badass, like still, like, so that there's no better announcing on any NBA team when you hear the old Bulls music and the way that guy used to yell. I don't even know if that guy's still around. That was amazing, right?
Man, I haven't been to a Bulls game since the '90s. Shit.
There's no reason to.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Right? So, that was awesome.
Introducing now your Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
All the lights would go off.
Yeah. It's a bummer for all of us, really, because, like, none of us knew, right, that something that was that amazing, right? Or you got, like, for example, you guys probably went to a bunch of Bulls games. The same thing in Cleveland. I could have watched Jordan play all this time. What's that?
I said I never went to any. My parents were so fucking cheap.
Oh, really? Well, they had some. So that was the good thing about, like, Cleveland teams not being good is, like, especially Indians.
Scully was a hippie anyway in high school. He was just going to the concerts. We all would. We went to concerts.
We're good.
I'm calling.
Sneak in, so they were.
I'm going to call Scully the instigator from now on because it sounds like he was the instigator. Scully the instigator. So he gets a lot of the credit for any success you've had in the octagon or the ring.
Yeah,
that's good call, Jeff.
Well, I owe some credit to my two older brothers for all the beatings they gave me too. So those three, my brothers and Scully,
nice.
I owe all the credit to.
Well, speaking of how awesome Scully is, so did you guys? This is kind of an older thing too, but did you guys do that couple of your T-shirt designs together? Like you had obviously, like, was it called Punch Buddies? And then there's another one, N something, right?
That was both of us the whole time.
Well, okay, I was trying to give you all the credit.
Shirts, but it goes way back. Our first business together was selling beer at the Grateful Dead shows. Tell them about that, Scully.
Yeah, that's actually true. What we did was we claimed, because we were still in high school, that we were selling grilled cheeses. So my mom would take us to Aldi and we'd get 20 loaves of bread and spend all night putting grilled cheeses together, put them in the freezer, and then in the morning we'd go and pick up the 17 cases or whatever, Molson Golden.
63. Remember Eddie's dad's car? 63 cases.
Yep.
Molson,
so then we just
baby.
park at the Grateful Dead concerts at Soldier Field, and we just, what the fuck? They're only $1, or sell beers all day.
You know what the funny thing is? When a 16-year-old kid wants to buy 63 cases of beer, no one cares.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that sounds like this. Like where I'm from too. It didn't matter. If you had that kind of money, nobody cared about anything. That's the other thing. So, sometimes cops would come in and they'd know what we were up to as high school kids, and they'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And we'd be like, of course you're not gonna say nothing. We'd be like, "Nothing." And they'd be like, "Man, you just need to," because typically you had to buy them in a bad neighborhood, right? And they'd be like, "You just need to get out of here. You're gonna get hurt." They're like, "We know you're buying beer. Just leave before you get shot or something." Man, they weren't really worried about like giving us a ticket for that kind of deal.
Hey, Butch, remember our police escort?
Yes, I know. That was awesome, actually. And there was somebody recently brought that up, but did that just happen randomly?
We were pulled off in it was the same sort of thing, a bad area. So the cops pulled us over. Remember, they were like, "What the fuck are you guys doing in this area?"
Yeah.
And then he looked in and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck? What are you doing?" To Stephan, and he's like, "We're running behind," and he's like, "Well, I'll fix that. Here, just follow me." And I thought he was just gonna drive normal speed. He was going 100 miles an hour.
You're like, this is badass. I love West Virginia. Huh?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So if
I
you're like,
name dropped you in the show, and then he was all like, "Oh yeah, follow me."
really? That's hilarious.
Yeah,
So Jeff, that story or anybody else is we had that MMA show in Charleston. I don't know if it's the first one, but it was one of the first ones ever in West Virginia. And then and Stephan was coming in to be like the celebrity, sign autographs and stuff. And I think we put you in a room, which was pretty cool. You know, the people just kind of came in and signed, got autographs and bought shirts and whatnot. But I guess, your plane landed late. Something was weird. It was just you guys running late. And I was like, I can't remember if I stressed out. Those shows are so stressful anyway. You're stressed about
I
everything.
remember Brandon Lee Hinkle was the main event.
Yeah, and actually, I've been sharing videos of that event. This I wouldn't say this week, but like this during this lockdown early for some people to do. But yeah, that was a good time because everybody was cool. I remember I just remember it's just a light feel, right? There was a lot of people for Charleston, because that's the other thing. There's not a lot of fighters in West Virginia because there's not a lot of gyms, So it's not like they're showing up to see their guys. They're showing up to see good fights, but at the same time, it's not like UFC has like a name appeal, so they're going to go. People are just showing up out of curiosity. It was a okay crowd. It was what it was, but it was a good time.
Dan Severn was there.
Right. Yeah, it was. I thought it was awesome, man. I think the quality of people that were there was pretty awesome, Then hell, we had a good time. We partied a lot. Then we go to we went to some music event downtown. We had a good time, man. I remember being out all night.
I had a great time.
Heck yeah.
Charleston's not too
Dan
bad.
Severn. That was the first time I met Severn, I think.
Yeah. Did you ever talk to him since you're wrestling now? I'm assuming he's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've wrestled on some shows with him.
Have you really?
I think I think he said it's his last year. Who knows? You never retire from wrestling, but he's like 60 or something now.
And he's still in decent shape. He just travels. That's the other, he's in his car all the time, which is the random, he'll be in Ohio or something, and then all of a sudden I get a call and he'll be like, man, I'm going to go through West Virginia soon. You want me to stop by? Can we set up a seminar? I'm like, buddy, I think people are Dan Severned out, because he goes through so much, And that's the other thing. And then also, unfortunately, all the new people that go to the gym, they don't know old fighters, right? Like older fighters. If I say, oh, Dan Severn, he, even if I try to play the wrestling angle, like he was in WWE or any of this, people are like, I don't know who that is, which is a shame. But I forget that a lot of times, when all that stuff happened, a lot of the people in my gym were just born when, he was fighting, unfortunately. I'll say some things and people are like, yeah, I was born in 2000 or something. Like, oh, well, yeah, that does make sense. And you're 20-some years old. That's still freaky to me. I forget that I'm old as well, Yeah.
It's funny. I never feel so old until I get a grown man with a beard and a big beard say, oh, man, yeah, I saw that fight win with Forrest when I was 9.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking, too, this is a random – did you guys throw something out of the window at the casino in your room or something? I feel like maybe you broke up some I don't know, maybe the mini bar thing or something. I feel like there was something that happened at that casino in your hotel room, but maybe not. I can't remember.
I don't recall.
Yeah. Not in a bad
That's
way.
how that would go anyways.
That's what I was going to say. I don't feel like nobody was mad because I feel like they're like, just so you know, they were kind of crazy, but it was like everybody's cool because they're like, it's fine. They're famous. It's like do whatever they want, But that was cool too. You guys stayed at the casino. I don't know. Casino in West Virginia is kind of lame. That just means a bunch of people playing bingo at the time or something. It's not like, Vegas casino or something.
Yeah, I don't remember being too much of an asshole. You never know, though.
No, I don't think so.
You never know, though.
It would have been good if we could have hung out more, but it was good. I just remember going to a live concert, doing a couple of things, training a bunch, doing some other stuff. So it was a good time.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And I'll never forget the video you showed of when Vanderlei did the seminar. Oh, it was great.
Oh yeah, him fighting that 16-year-old, whatever. Yeah, because
yeah, the kid he fucked him up. It was so awesome.
Yeah, which was hilarious because that video, they posted, it made. It was on HD Net. Remember that they used to have Inside MMA and stuff. I don't know if you were ever on that with Boss and them and stuff, but they used to have that show, and that video made that show, which I was kind of embarrassed.
Yes.
I was like, oh shit. because of course, you know how people are on the internet.
That's great though, man. That is a great piece of footage.
It was wonderful. Yeah. But it was funny because it was there for a while. I thought Vanderlei was going to kill that kid. That kid didn't care.
Dude, if that knee would have landed, he missed with a fucking, like, he hit him in the body, and then the kid went down, and he looked like he was throwing one to the head. The kid fell back, and it missed. Holy shit.
Yeah, and it for a minute, that's the thing, like, for people that don't know what happened is, I'll explain that, you know, like, Vanderlei did a seminar at our gym, and then at the end, which was crazy, because it was at a time where, like, nobody really comes to West Virginia, right? So, like, I think even as before we're doing MMA shows or anything, so Vanderlei came, and like everybody came from all over because it's just like they haven't seen somebody that they saw on TV or something. You know what I mean? They were like, plus that was Vanderlei was coming off his Pride days. You know, he was like a
Pride champion. Yeah.
He was a legend,
a long reign.
Yeah, it was crazy. So then I think there literally was, I think 200 people there. No joke. There was more than 200. So anyway, it was, you know, everybody's meeting him, and at the end he said, "Hey man, like I'm gonna spar with some people," but he wasn't, you know, they're just kind of slap fighting, playing around, not doing nothing. And then a 16-year-old kid got up and just went a little rough. He's 16, so he's, you know, just trying to prove himself. He does also. That's the other thing. Like
he was throwing as hard as he could. Yes,
exactly. Like it's Vanderlei's trying to be nice, and you guys, they were in MMA gloves, so it's not like you should be hitting each other hard. This kid did like a 360 spinning back kick right in the stomach. Bam! Hit Vanderlei. So a crowd of 200 people, like, wham! They're like, oh, shit. You know, of course, and you guys know when you're sparring, even if you're the nice guy, you hear that, it still pisses you off because you're like, everybody said, oh, shit, I want to show them it don't hurt or whatever, right? You just got shown up. Vanderlei, I think, was still kind of cool. He let it be. I think he kind of went a little bit harder. The kid does it again and hits him again. Then Vanderlei just snapped. He just started hitting. But he, in his credit, I thought he snapped for real. Like when I was there, I was like, oh shit. And I just kind of put my head down. I was like, fuck, this is not going to be good, you know? But looking at the video, actually he kind of had a closed fist. He kind of open hand. He was kind of slapping the kid. He was hitting him hard, but he was still trying to be nice.
He caught himself.
Yeah,
he like got rough, and then it went down. And then he's like, "Oh boy," you know, like.
Yeah, he woke up.
You know,
like,
you could tell kinda,
he started throwing elbows, ground and pound, like boom, boom, and that's where I think he woke up. Because the crowd, the same thing. The crowd, oh, and you know, sadly, you know, the kid's dead. Like, listen, it was a moment of their life, right? It's like if any of us, like, just we were talking, if we're playing basketball with Michael Jordan, right? Like you're trying to do shit, and you know what I mean? It's a little bit different because it's fighting, but I mean, you show him up, and all of a sudden he's like, all right, well, I'm going to fucking dunk on you now, and you're done. You know, I'm going to block every shot, and that's kind of what happened. He just lit him up, and it was cool. You know, it was what it was. I mean, the kid's dad was yelling, you got him, you got him. He actually, that was the other thing. Vanderlei took him down, was in his guard, was hitting him. That kid was heel striking him, like Hoist Gracie used to do, like, in the kidneys and stuff. And I was like, that's when I was like,
the little heel kicks.
Yeah, yeah, it was rough. But then Vanderlei just stopped. I think he woke up and just stopped and grabbed him by the hand and took him outside. And, you know, or anyway, he didn't take him outside, but he said, that's, you know, we're done. And actually he stopped sparring with everybody. So that kid kind of ruined it for everybody because Vanderlei would have probably sparred with everybody, made everybody's day. And then anyway, after the thing was over, got in there and I don't even know what Vanderlei's thinking. I wasn't even going to bring it up. And then he just goes, was that your student? What's up with that fucking kid? And I was, you know, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who that is. He's like, I was going to fucking kill that guy. I was going to fucking murder him. You know, everything that I was thinking, I was like, oh shit, like he really was. And then it was funny because somebody posted that video and it already like went everywhere. And I said, well, here's the video of it. And he's watching. He's like, oh yeah, man, I fucking was going to kill that guy, you know? But anyway, it was just funny, you know. So good times. I mean, that's pretty wild. Has that ever happened to you at a seminar? Speaking of that, or anything weird like that, or?
No, man.
Nothing.
Nope. People.
I'll make it happen next time you come into Charleston.
All right. Yeah.
I can be that guy. I like pain.
But
I was watching a video the other day of a Muay Thai guy, and that was the video that he released on Facebook. It was that of every seminar that he was at where somebody went hard with him. I guess it's pretty common.
Oh, wait. I take that back. This dude came into my school and I was like teaching and trying to demo a move. You know, I taught a move, and then the guy was doing it, and I went under, and I said, "Oh no, make sure you do it like this." And I just torn my pec, and it was a half guard where I come up here and plant my arm, and he started fighting me, and it and I just fucking slapped a triangle on him. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you know.
Did he say anything? That's the thing. People that do that, I don't, because people do that
He
sometimes.
didn't come back.
Oh,
I
he
was
did?
like, you know, I actually said to my class, like, is that what you wanted? I go, how long did that take? And everyone's like, listen to this.
Too bad. You know what's funny? So I have a story. Like when I was a blue belt or something, I think that's when Hoist Gracie was my instructor. But that was actually, I wasn't even a blue belt. I think he gave me my blue belt like that day, but I didn't know at the time too. That's when jiu-jitsu was pretty new and MMA's new. There's honestly so there's nothing in West Virginia. There's no gyms. And that's why he came in. I wrote him on the internet. I said, hey man, like, would you train me? And surprisingly, he said like, sure. But it was more like, obviously if you pay the money, I'll train anybody. You know, so we had a big seminar, and of course a bunch of people went. And anyway, like when I thought, like the point, like when we rolled, like I rolled as hard as I could. I didn't know a bunch of moves, you know, but I was a big guy. So I think I almost got him in a guillotine. By almost, I just mean I grabbed his head and was squeezing. I wasn't really doing anything, but that course like pissed him off. And I mean, I think he like popped my elbow, got me an arm bar, popped my elbow really hard, you know, and like, but I thought that was kind of part of the thing. Like he just wanted to see how tough I was. So like, I just rolled over and got back up. I said, well, let's go again. And I think then he put me in a choke, and I tapped, he wouldn't let go. And he popped my jaw or something. And then something else happened, and he did, you know, literally I got my ass kicked the entire, like hurt, like severe injuries. I mean, I had big gashes on me and stuff. And like one time he looked at me and just said, well, that's putting it in another gear. And at the same time too, though, I wasn't like offended. I thought that's what we were supposed to do. I thought he was just trying to see how tough I was and if I was going to give up and all that shit. And I was like, well, so at the end I thought, well, I did good because I didn't give up. You know, I showed I had heart. And then he got in my car and he said, man, if you ever do that again, I'll fucking kill you. I was like, do what? Like, I thought that's what you want. He's like, man, don't test yourself against me. Like, you're a white belt, you know, blue belt. Test yourself against other white belts. I was like, well, I thought like you were wanting to see how good I was. I thought that's what I want. You know, I was like, you know, looking back, I didn't do anything terrible, but it was probably disrespectful. You know, it was like early, I guess that was 2000s, early 2000s. But anyway, I mean, I was like throttled.
But then again, you're big and strong, and you pissed him off, and he had to get rough with you. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, he even told me, he's like, so like, he's like, literally, he's like, if you beat me, it'd be all over the internet, you know? He's like, if I beat you, nobody fucking cares. He's like, so know your role, go sit down or something, you know? But which is funny because now, like, when I'm over, like, that incident made me, like, overly cautious, even to this day, and it's not because I think I'm good. It's just, like, I don't want somebody to get offended, right? So I rolled with De La Hiva, who's, like, basically a Hoist's size or small, Ricardo De La Hiva. And I did say, I rolled super light with him. And then afterwards at the end, he was pissed. Like, he's like, why you roll like that? And I was like what, man? He's like, you roll like you think you're better than me. I was like, dude, like, I can't fucking win. You know, like, I was like, I was trying to be respectful. He's like, that's disrespectful, man. Like, I was like, dude, I'm sorry. You know, he was mad too, but he was like nicer. He didn't hurt me. You know, he was like, yeah, no, next time, give me all you got. And I was like, okay, I guess. You know, so like, I don't know what to do, but it's not, you know, it's not like I've had that problem forever. You know, it's just an interesting thing. Like I wouldn't, to the point where somebody's fighting you during a move, I wouldn't do that. That's ignorant. But, you know, I mean, when you're sparring with somebody, like so-called sparring, it's a little bit different, right? You think you're supposed to go hard or not, you know what I mean? Something like that. But it's different. But nobody goes like, you Stephan, and you guys, everybody was nice. I mean, that's not an issue. But our guys know too, like, hey, dude, know your role. You're not going to, you know what I mean?
Also, though, when you're, you know, white and a blue belt, you're just rougher. Your technique isn't smooth, and you're accidentally hitting people, and you're just, it's like a real good. I could go with a super good world champ black belt, and be less banged up than just a fucking blue belt who's strong and retarded, you know. And even getting caught, I could get caught by him and still be fine. And this strong blue belt, all like accidentally elbowing me and shit when they're rolling it,
Yeah.
roughly going with
And
doing
I guarantee that's probably what the way I was rolling with Hoy. I was like when you don't know anything, right? You just use your strength if you're a big guy. So I'm sure, I mean, like probably the same thing that people do to me. Like if I get them an arm bar and they're giant, they just try to pick me up in the air and slam me on my head, or stuff that you're like, man, don't be doing that. Like I could break your arm. Like you got to be normal too. But that's why I didn't take offense to it at all. I was just like, shit. Like, later in life, I was like, yeah, like I learned my lesson and not doing that kind of stuff. But, I could see people doing that because you're going to run into people that just don't know any better, right? I think it would be, it's tough because here's the thing. When you teach a seminar, everybody wants to like have a part of you, right? Like if Stephan teaches a seminar, whoever teaches a seminar, like everybody that's going, they're
you gotta roll with everyone.
Yeah. They want that, right? So you don't know what you're getting when you get that person, because that's the other thing. They might, who knows? Like I said, they might go crazy, or they might just be happy. I mean, it's rough. That's the part people don't understand in our sport. You can't. I mean, you could hide, right? But then you're not going to do very good at your seminars and stuff. If everybody's like, yeah, I do a seminar with Stephan, he roll with everybody, you spar with everybody, then everybody's like, yeah, I want to go to that thing. I don't know. It's a weird thing, because you're literally sparring or fighting with people that want to submit you or break your bones in general, right? So,
Yep.
Hey, Butch, what's funny? When you talk about like going to your strengths, the only real compliment I got when I'm training at your gym and I got guys bigger than me, is when I go to my strength, it's just that I don't panic when I'm getting squashed or choked.
Yeah.
And it's basically the compliment I get. It's like, so I guess I'm in that position a lot where I'm either getting just somebody that's like 100 pounds heavier than me squashing me and I don't panic.
Yeah.
But I come in there knowing that I'm going to get squashed or choked. So
you're like, I just really like it when guys sit on my face, and I'm kind of used to it. So it's okay.
I don't really like it. It's just I can handle it. It's
yeah, you can deal with it. None of us like it. That's the thing. I really like jiu-jitsu, but there's a lot of positions I don't really like. So I avoid it at all costs. If I get there, I'm like, I deserve to get my ass kicked. Is what I think. I mean, it is what it is. So did you train too, Scully? By the way.
Yeah, a little bit. Not like any of you guys sound like. So probably easiest if I just say a little.
He throws a good punch.
So were you more of a stand-up guy than a jiu-jitsu guy, or no?
I don't know. I would say that, I would, back when I were getting fights, I would probably throw one good one and then try to get someone on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm scrappier like that, but again, I'm like, a 40-something-year-old dude.
Just punched someone in the face the other week.
Yeah. In
I think
California.
me and Scully are in the same range here. I think we're on the same playing field.
No, Butch, that's serious. Scully just punched someone in the face last week.
No way.
Well, that was January 1, but that was like an isolated incident.
Social distancing.
Prior to social distancing.
Yeah, not right. Fighting right now is down.
Tell that story. Tell that story.
Range.
Oh, this is just the fucking guy fixing the stucco on the house. He's drunk. And I don't care. If you do a good job on the stucco, I don't care if you're drinking. That's fine. But like he's like dragging this project out for 5 weeks, and I'm like, hey man, the hole up by the roof, make sure you catch that. That one's kind of important. A raccoon could fit through that. So he knocks on the door. It's it's the first of the year, and he's like, all right, it's all done. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I walk outside and I look up and it's like, dude, the fucking hole is still there. And he's like, oh man, like forget it. That's fine. Don't even worry about it. Nothing's gonna get in there. And I'm like, dude, that's big. And I'm catching myself like defending like why he should fix the hole.
Yeah.
And he's just like, fuck it, man. I'm done. Keep the money. And I was like, okay, man.
That's even better.
I'm thinking this is a windfall. So I'm walking out and he's throwing his shit all over in my yard. That's fine. No big deal. And then he starts throwing it into my neighbor's yard. And I'm like, hey, don't fucking throw shit in other people's yards, litter bug. And he fucking turned around and he's got his cow.
I love that you called him litter bug.
Yeah. And he fucking charges me, and I think he's just gonna like start yelling in my face. And he pushes me, and he's got the trowel and shit, and like I go back and he starts coming at me again, and I just gave him a jab.
Yeah.
A good.
That was
good.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I exploded his nose. Like it was a.
That's all it took.
It was a nice one, but he
I
did
like
fix
it.
the hole.
He did fix it.
He did fix the hole. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I gave him a tip too. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
So you guys tight now?
No, I blocked him. He tried to get me charged with like a felony. The
You're like, but I
detective
tipped
me.
you.
The neighbors saw it. They saw it. I just defended myself, and then he sent some letter from a lawyer, and I don't know.
Nah.
I mean, that honestly is the worst thing, right? As an adult, it's hard. You can't. I mean, you honestly can't get a fight. I'm not saying like, that you won't if it happens. Just like your scenario, right? Like you can't think about it during the time, but as an adult now, like that stuff like that, everybody sues you for everything, right?
It was foolish of me, very, very foolish of me. If I hadn't had people actually witness it, that's amateur hour. I shouldn't have done anything,
But what are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do when somebody charges you?
Neck, that you could a situation like that. Some poor bastard probably got stuck in the neck with the trowel and died. I'm not going to have that happen to me.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd say justice was served.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and he fixed the hole. That's insult to injury, right?
I mean, that was the whole situation. I mean, as long as the hole was fixed, who cares?
Yeah.
Right. My point. Yeah.
No raccoons.
No raccoons in the attic anymore, and we're good.
That's good stuff. So thank you, Scully. I think when I hung out with you guys together, I feel like you're the funnier one at the time. Is that the case, Scully? Is that not true?
About
I
what?
just think you're funny. I'm just saying. I think the reason I'm asking is because the guy that never talks on this thing, it says Matthew Saldanha at the bottom of the screen. He is
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. So the reason I'm saying
Matt, could you just quiet down a little bit? Just pipe down.
So, and I also
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt so much.
I'm bringing it up randomly because
Hey, how come he doesn't have to turn his fucking video on?
My computer
I
doesn't
didn't
have
even
a
know he was
camera.
on. I didn't even know
Sorry.
he was on.
He has a giant erection, and he
It's
doesn't want us
true.
to see it.
So Stephan,
Thank you for saying giant.
Some comedy.
You're welcome.
Have you done anything, Scully? No.
What? What's happening?
Have you done any comedy? Are you into that at all?
No. I'm not that funny. Like, maybe.
Yes, you are. Tell another story. I like the fight story. I think you're funny.
I don't know.
Here's this, like,
I'm on
Matt,
the spot now.
the guy that's not on the video. So, Stephan, this is a story that
Are you going back to the park, Stephan, are you going back to the park? Are you going to?
No, I had to go to my car. My battery's dying. I got to plug this thing in.
Is your electricity out? I had to do that last week.
He's been out playing with his kid, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm out at the park.
Ah, okay. I got you.
So anyway, back to this thing. So what was that, the comedy event that you did, Stephan, what was it called? Everybody was on mushrooms, or the crowd or the people. I can't remember.
Psychedelic Comedy Hour.
Yeah.
Well,
What?
Yeah, I've done stand-up a handful of times, and my last
Let's
gig
do
was for Psychedelic Comedy Hour. So we got there, like, we all met, like, an hour before the show and ate a bunch of mushrooms. And then went up
Jesus.
and did comedy.
That sounds completely amazing to me. Like, amazing.
Let's do this.
I think I should do it every time I do comedy. I was fucking awesome. It was the best that I ever did.
But do you think you're awesome, or do you just see video and you actually were awesome? Does that make sense?
Well, everyone was engaged and laughing and, like, applaud. I mean, the
They're
crowd
all-
doesn't lie.
Yeah.
People laughed and applauded and shit.
Look,
Like, more than they ever did before.
pro tip, Butch, if you feel like it's awesome, you never watch replays.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah,
You
just
go with it.
And on a high note.
Yeah, I don't need to watch it. Like, fuck it. The less the less I think of myself, the better. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah,
so
I'm
when you
everyone's like,
got
"How you feeling?" I'm like, I try not to think about it, to be honest with you.
did you? I mean, were you messed up pretty bad when you got on there? Or not really.
Who's sitting next to you?
No one.
Oh,
The
The
basketball?
chair's covered. It was a ghost.
no. I
Like
thought
a man in
that
a ghillie suit.
got it.
So
Yeah,
when you do,
I mean, I didn't drive, so they dropped me off back at home, and it was no big deal. I mean, it was a good time.
but I mean, you weren't distracted. You weren't like, holy shit, everybody's turning into dolphins or something. I mean, you weren't.
It was. I went up there and I said, like, I started telling jokes, and I'm like, I just started. I didn't have anything prepared. I just went the whole thing.
That's even crazier.
And I said, you know what? It doesn't even matter, like, what I say right now, because I'm just talking to a room full of fish anyway. That's all I say.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Matthew Saldanha, because I mean, do you think you could
Howdy.
do that as a comedian?
Oh God, no. I didn't do any drugs in high
Not
school
too
at
late.
all. And then, sorry, what?
I said it's not too late.
Yeah, well, see, that's the problem. And then, so I had no experience at all before going to college. I didn't even drink either. Like, my friends would come over. I used to have a lot of friends over at my house, and I didn't care if they smoked weed, but I didn't want anyone drinking because in my head, which I still think is true, that alcohol is more dangerous than weed from my experience. And so before I went to college, though, I was like, you know what, I should try some drugs, for science. And
Exactly.
my friends got a hold of what's called salvia,
Shit,
and
that's a good first one to do, buddy.
Dude,
and I was like, and my mom was out of town. We had the house to ourselves, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do this. This sounds like a fun time, because I'm a smart guy. And
Yeah.
so we did salvia, and honestly, it was awesome. And it only lasted like 20 minutes. It was a great time. And then they were like, a couple of days there, like, hey, we got a hold of what's called acid. I'm like, cool, let's do that. That sounds like a fun time. Well, we took the acid. They each gave us, a little piece of paper thing. Stuck it in my mouth, and 30 minutes later, they're like, hey, what are you gonna do with the rest of your hits? I was like, you only gave me one. They're like, no, we gave you that whole little piece of paper. You're supposed to rip off a quarter of it. I'm like, oh shit. Um, and I went on like a 15-hour trip, and I was like going in and out of it the whole time. And the worst thing was I kept on forgetting I was on drugs, and I thought something crazy happened, like I died, and it was the afterlife, and a lot of crazy shit happened that night.
that is awesome.
And then I saw some wild shit. I mean, terrifying experience, but one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I did not understand what drugs could do to your brain, and now that I do, like, it's just incredible to me what happened that night. But
That's a big difference between, say, LSD and like illicit street drugs like crack and heroin. They're not even in the same fucking. Just to put them all in the same word is a shame, because they're not. Like, they really expand your consciousness and kind of show you where you're stuck at. You always come back from an acid trip learning something and being a little more free of your own bullshit. That's
yeah,
how
it's and I'm not a spiritual or religious or supernatural person in any frame of mind, but I mean, that was an experience I did learn a lot from about myself.
What did you
Yeah,
learn?
they did this.
Pretty cool.
Let me tell you about a pretty cool study where they took a group of people and they gave like 10 of them acid, right? And anyways, they had and I think there were like 100 people in the group, and they had to like submit their experiences to like a group of theologians, like who studied religion their whole lives, church, I forget which one, but theologian. Anyways, so they went through it, and they went through the papers, reading them and trying to decide who really authentically had a transcendent spiritual experience, right? And there's 10 criteria they look for. And anyways, they went through all the papers, and out of the 10 people that took the acid, each one showed 6 or more of the criteria they looked for in a transcendent spiritual experience. Isn't that insane?
Well,
And they had no
Let's
idea.
stay here.
The
This is a good
theologians
topic.
and the people involved with the study had no idea about the drugs. They didn't tell them, hey, these people took acid. No, it was just words.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Wow.
they've got a bunch of studies now that mushroom, psilocybin, LSD, they really actually rewire your brain or fix a bunch of stuff. They're doing stuff for PTSD, right? They're doing stuff for brain
Yes.
trauma.
They use a lot of microdosing to treat PTSD and severe trauma cases.
Well, yeah, and actually, there's a big study on MDMA and PTSD right now too. After like 1 or 2 sessions, people are basically healed. But anyway, even on, like I said, like what Stephan said, where people they come out with it better. I think that does have something to do with the rewiring, right? That kind of fixes some of the things that happen to people. Maybe, and during that whole thing, you kind of rethink about things, right?
It's all about the setting. If you're in a proper setting with a proper guide, you could use it. Like, it's actually been approved for religious purposes, the use of
Sure.
some psychedelic drugs and spiritual rituals and religious practices.
I think ayahuasca is the big one right now. So there's a lot of people using that loophole, right? Because there was a show, I don't know if it's still on, but it was something in Kentucky, and I watched it because it was interesting on a bunch of levels. But they would go to this.
Yeah, people use it to get off drugs.
Well, yeah,
off heroin.
Yeah,
exactly, and that's what a lot of
absolutely.
people do. I watched the show, and listen, there's nothing wrong with the show. I just watched it because I thought, well, this is a trainer. It's like, it might as well. I don't want to make fun of people, but people
Make fun of people.
Well, they stereotype Kentucky and West
It's
Virginia.
funny.
They're going in the woods and doing acid. I just feel like this is doing ayahuasca. I feel like this is not going to be a good scenario. but anyway, it was like the show was good, man. They were changing people's lives. People were doing it because they're getting off drugs. They were doing it because for all different reasons, right? Some woman was, sexually promiscuous.
Yeah, it's not something you go take and go to a fucking party or something,
No, and actually, like, on that method, isn't that kind of one of the reasons I heard Dan Hardy quit fighting is he went and did like ayahuasca or something, and he said that he thought, other than, I mean, I know he had a heart problem or something too, but I thought he was, it just changed his life is what I heard or something. But I hear that from a lot of people. They'll do that kind of stuff, and it changes their outlook on everything, right? I don't know. I'm super interested. Everything I hear about ayahuasca and all that stuff, it makes you almost like, the more people you talk about it, you're like, man, I wish that was around, but fortunately, I don't think that grows in West Virginia.
DMT as well.
Yeah.
If you want
I've never done ayahuasca.
Well, ayahuasca and DMT apparently are about the same thing. The only difference between the two is ayahuasca lasts for a long time.
That's
for 40
that's
hours,
true.
And DMT is like 20 minutes or something. But from what I understand,
Matt.
it's basically the same chemical. It's just different. Right?
What were you going to say, Matt?
I was gonna say, if you want to watch a more, I guess, science frame of mind video on psychedelic drugs, there's a guy on YouTube. He started a channel a long time ago called Vsauce, where he did a lot of science videos, and they're great. I love them. They're very engaging. And so YouTube gave him his own show, and he called it Mindfield, where he just explores science topics, and he wanted to explore psychedelic drugs, and he documents everything leading up to the drugs and the videos, the experience he had with he went, I think, into South America and tried very strong hallucinogens, and talks about
What's the name of the show?
experience. It's called Mindfield. It's a YouTube original, but it's from the guy who created Vsauce, Michael Stevens.
Minefield.
We'll have to check it out then. How long has it been on for? A long time, Matthew?
That one was uploaded December 6, 2017. I just pulled it up. It's a 33-minute video. I loved it. But I love everything he does. I think he's a really...
What name again? I didn't catch it. I lost you there.
Oh, sorry. The show was called Mindfield.
And his
And
name.
Minefield.
Yeah,
But
and his
that's-
name is
Just type in Minefield on YouTube, right? And then you find
yeah,
it.
Minefield episode 2, and it's great.
Cool.
Last time I talked to you, Stephan, so you're into some different kind of religion stuff too. Is that because of anything different, or does that make sense? I think because you like
Drugs may have played a role. Is that basically what you're asking, Butch?
maybe.
This is exciting to me. I love getting into the religion discussion. Let's roll.
I mean, seriously, as we evolve as a culture, I think religion's not going to be as necessary. People kind of, as a whole, I think our consciousness is expanding, and people are realizing that the relationships between themselves and God more than anything, not some, structurized rituals, But some of the modern churches aren't too bad. Like, there's one here I went to that's pretty decent. You could dress casual, and it's not church. But I'm really into Hinduism. It's cool. You know the story of like the Mahabharata or the Ramayana. Or the Ramayana is how they really say it. It's epic. It's like their Bible, the Ramayana, the Hindu Bible. But if you read it, it sounds like it's a like Vin Diesel rock pack spectacular. It'd be like, why don't they do the Ramayana movie starring The Rock or something as Hanuman? That's how it's.
Yeah. Well, I think
Hanuman goes in.
Did we just
and
put
kicks
Vin
the shit
Diesel
out
in a
of one
religion?
and rescues God's wife. Awesome.
I think that's essentially ancient aliens, right? They always talk about that, the Bhagavad Gita and all that. So they're like, oh, they had UFOs, they did all that stuff. I think essentially that's their show, right? They reference that all the time.
Aliens? No, man.
I'm just saying that
It was
show.
in a different yuga. It was like 10,000 years ago, and things were different then.
So you guys might know.
Come
So
on,
they're
look at
very
the shit in
different.
the Bible. Just believe. I mean, people believe that Moses parted the Red Sea and stuff. So
Wait.
the stuff in the Ramayana is really far on. It was in a different age. So I think most Americans' minds can't really grasp it. It's too tough for them. But I love it.
I love it. Yeah. I think this is actually the problem. Not to get too far into like most Americans.
Moses is my homie.
They don't understand that there's other religions, right? You're born into Christianity. You think the Bible is this, and you don't know there's other. Like my wife, like I was trying to explain to her that there's a lot of Muslims in the world. That's a popular religion. She's blown away.
It's huge.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah,
It's bigger than Christianity.
Too. Yeah, and she was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, there's like thousands of religions," and she was like, "Really?" Like I mean, people have no idea.
I think it's important for anybody of any faith to study the historical context of where their religion lies, especially Christianity, because most modern religions, especially the Abrahamic religions, you can read the Bible, the Old Testament, and you can track not exactly, but where those stories came from. I mean, the flood mythos came from Mesopotamia and the Epic of Gilgamesh. And Hammurabi described himself as a shepherd for the people. That's something we had in the New Testament. I think it's important to understand where your religion comes from, because that gives you greater appreciation for the history of it. And I think it kind of sets the context for what you believe in.
I think
that was before they had domesticated animals.
Got it.
So kind of on the same subject of Scully, but when I was in high school, so we had this place called Buckeye in Ohio. I think it was like, but anyway, the Grateful Dead would go there all the time.
It was.
We didn't sell beer or anything. We weren't that smart. Actually, which is funny because my parents never cared about anything. Like I took their car. This is kind of related, but unrelated. But I took their car one night and drove to Canada. My parents didn't give a shit about nothing. Like they wake up and be like, "Man, were you in Canada?" I was like, "No." That's strange. There's all these from Canada in the car. Like, anyway, when I asked them, I'm like, "Man, can I go to a Grateful Dead concert?" And they're like, "No." That's the only thing in my life that I said no to. But all my friends would go. Quite honestly, that's where all the drug dealers got their stuff. You know what I'm saying, like after a Grateful Dead concert, somebody'd have like a page full of acid, or they'd have, you know what I mean? Everybody, like balloons full of nitrous or whatever. That was the popular thing. I don't know if they're still and I think I never followed them, but Fish, right? I think that was kind of the same thing, right? People go and party and do all that stuff. I mean, so you were actually there then. So is it pretty crazy? Because they said like it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the music. So I liked the T-shirts. Really, the reason why I did T-shirts was because the T-shirts at the Grateful Dead concerts were the best T-shirts ever.
Really?
They're not the ones that were sold inside, but the ones that were created by the people and selling them in the parking lot. Those are the best T-shirts like ever. They were creative, they were cool, they were fun. I was a busboy at the time. I would save all my money and like spend it on T-shirts. So I went to the Grateful Dead concerts before I did drugs.
Really?
So I liked the music.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
But it was a great place for drugs too.
Yeah, but it was so
the best, I'm sure.
You're older by then, but you've probably not been. Did you go to anything after Jerry Garcia died, or not? I mean, that was your time.
A couple of them. I went to my first Dead show at 14, and then I went to a couple of them, and then it just Fish. I went to a couple Fish shows. That was like that's a different scene to me. It was like a little more druggy-ish. I thought.
So is that like the jam band culture, what you call it, or not really? Or
I would call that the jam band. Yeah.
Because I went to a Pink Floyd concert, and the only reason I bring that up is because it's just that's kind of I just remember sitting there, is at the old Cleveland Stadium, which fit like 80,000 people or something. But I mean, it was so packed with people. And the way they play the videos with their music, and it was just like almost like everybody's in a trance. It was only I've been to a bunch of concerts, as you have too, and it's weird because nobody got out of their seat, right? It's just like everybody listened to music and watched the videos, and they're obviously probably on drugs or whatever. But I mean, it was just so tranquil, but it's peaceful. But it was fun in a different, like you almost felt with 80,000 people like you were one with everybody because they were sitting together, just chilling, and it was just peaceful, right? It's not like a normal like I've been to. Even country, like a Hank Williams Jr. concert, you thought you're going to get a fight, right? Like kind of like Jeff said earlier, or Matt said, alcohol is a different drug in a way, right? People drink and get rowdy or stupid or fall over. There might have been people falling over on drugs, but it's just different. Like everybody's they're happy. You know what I'm saying? It's a different thing, Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I was always wondering. So, like, did you at the Grateful were they like camp out type things? Because that's what the kids were in my high school were doing. I never got to go, but they were.
My parents were not like too like I didn't have it like that where I could just take off and just disappear for a weekend. I hit them up in Chicago, so Soldier Field, Rosemont Horizon at the time. Those were all the shows that I went to. So always just local. Maybe I went down to Deer Creek in Indiana, but I was kind of like, by that time, Jerry was probably dead. That was probably after the fact, and I was already in college, so I did what I want. But
how many people does Soldier Field seat? A lot, or?
Yeah, a ton. I wonder.
Huge.
Because the whole field would be packed with people, and they would just be behind the stage. Would be empty. Yeah, that was a cool place to see a show.
Must have been epic.
I want to go to Soldier Field so bad.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Were you living in Chicago when they had that fog game, the Chicago Bears game, where you couldn't say anything because of the fog? You know what I'm talking about, the football game?
Yeah. I don't think I was living in Chicago. Probably it was. I think maybe in Indiana or in school or something during that time. Maybe. How long ago was that? That was a while.
Years. That was a long time ago. Yeah, I was probably like not even. Maybe even high school or young. I just remember being on TV and you couldn't see anything. I'm like, why is this even on TV? I'm saying it was just like nothing, but. They're playing a game, and all you saw was which is pretty cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff happened in the place. Where did you live in Indiana? Like
Munster, Indiana. So it was like 26 miles from downtown Chicago. Stephan grew up there too.
Is that so? Where is considered like obviously I'm not from Indiana. Like I used to go to a bunch of fight shows in Evansville, which I think is
That's
the
south.
Okay.
That's all the way down. So to put it in perspective, you're from Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So the Christmas Story, which was filmed in Cleveland, was actually
Great
out
show.
Northwest Indiana, where me and Stephan grew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's an Indiana thing. It really is, or
Hammond.
Yep.
Hammond, Indiana.
that's pretty wild. Yeah, because they still have
Right next to Munster.
the Christmas Story house in Cleveland, the tourist attraction or something or something.
Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty wild. Yeah, it's weird. Have you guys went back to Chicago very much since you left, or not really?
I've been back over the holidays. I went and saw my folks.
Did it change a lot since you guys grew up, or?
Urban sprawl, for sure.
That's the same thing. Like when I was a kid, the neighborhoods that we would never go to because you just weren't supposed to are actually like a big deal now. You know what I mean? They've changed them to where they're uppity or rich folk. Because I'm like, somebody invited me to a bar at one of the places that I was like, when I went back, I was like, I'm not going down there, you know, because when I would live there, you wouldn't go there. And they're like, no, like it's fine now. I'm like, whatever.
Or like
it's weird.
Craig Elo lived.
What's that?
It's like I'm not going there because that's where Craig Elo lived.
Craig Elo was the man. He should have blocked Jordan Shaw at the last. That's but yeah, it was weird, you know. But anyway, they were fun. You know, it's weird how they can whatever they do. You know, I don't see how they can readjust a neighborhood. You know, but they do. You know.
Yeah, the places like North Avenue in Chicago, which is where Bucktown is in Chicago, super, very, very, very expensive area in Chicago. When we were kids, that was like the area that we would drive around to like go see crazy shit. Not stop the car, but just go and see crazy shit. Like crazy hookers and druggies and bums. And like, I mean, it was a scary ass area. Just driving along, it was like an adventure.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you know, $1 million condos.
Yeah, that's wild, huh?
Yeah.
Everything's $1 million condo in California, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
That must be strange too, because I remember I've got a bunch of friends that live in California, but when they come here, they'll be like what would like whatever, I don't know, 400, let's say 500,000. What if $500,000 buy me? I'm like, man, you'd get like a mansion on like 20 acres of land, and they're like, dude, I could barely get an apartment in California. You know?
Just rub it in your face.
Yeah,
You're just rubbing it in your face, Butch.
Yeah.
You just got to go where everybody else doesn't.
Yeah.
I live in San Pedro, so that's like the port of Los Angeles.
No, I've heard of it, right? I don't know if I've been there, but I mean, I've heard of it. So it's not like, you know, what's funny is like, I have a friend that lives in Crenshaw.
Yep.
Which apparently is not a good neighborhood. But I remember I got off because again, it was like a work trip. So I rented a car. So I rented a Porsche 911, like a Carrera. I don't even know about cars. I just know like a Porsche is good. And then my friend was like, man, just, you know, stop by the house. So me and my wife drive to Crenshaw on this Porsche. We go to see him, you know, and then I was like, yeah, man, I got the Porsche. I was talking to him about it. But anyway, he was like, dude, you should not have drove that here. Like, you're probably going to get killed. And I was like, well, that's not good. Like, I knew Crenshaw wasn't the best, but he's like, seriously, he's like, I don't go at it. He was a black guy. He is a black guy. And he's like, I don't go out at night. And I'm black. He's like, you're going to fucking get killed. Which, funny thing is, like, nothing ever happened. You know what I mean? Luckily, I guess I get lucky. Never even saw anybody, you know what I mean, on the street or nothing. So, but anyway, it's just funny, you know.
Yeah.
I loved going. That's the one thing I do miss about that. Like, I used to go to Venice Beach all the time and hang out and stuff. And do you ever go down there?
That's usually like if people are coming in to visit. That's one of the places that I show everybody.
Yeah, that place is awesome, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it's just you got to experience it at least, you know.
I like it too, just because it's chill,
Okay.
right? It's more of the hippie vibe, but I mean, I don't know, people are more relaxed there, I think, than other places. Like, of course, the same thing. Like when I go, we do all the tourist stuff. So I take my wife to Beverly Hills and LA, you know, all that stuff. And I like, especially just visiting. I like all of it. I don't care, you know what I mean? But different places would be different to live, I'm sure. Meaning that, you know, LA or especially Beverly Hills, like there's probably a certain way that you got to live and dress and act to fit in something that probably wouldn't be my vibe, but it's fine if you're just visiting,
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it seems like
It's not Elkview.
No. But it seems like a cool
Definitely.
place. Are you happy that you live there now? You like it? And so
I mean, I'm right on the water. I fish all the time. So, those are the important things to me.
yeah, that's awesome, man.
And it's like it's like the end of the road kind of. So it's I'm happy with it. Again, if I have ocean and have country living, I mean that would be ideal.
Yeah. Well, maybe somebody knows of that. That seems like there has to be a place like that.
I think it's Mexico, man.
Is what?
Mexico.
Yeah, yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's too bad there's that giant wall. You can't get there anymore.
There's all kinds of holes in that wall.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah. Just fly over it.
How did we get lost? We were on religion, and we somehow got away from it.
Start it back up, Jeff. That's all your fault.
Am I right, Matthew? Matt.
Yeah, it's
No,
definitely
but,
your fault.
Back to religion.
Video.
A good book is Yogananda's guru Sri Yukteswar. I think that's how you say it. But he wrote a book called The Holy Science, and it's pretty about it's the universality of religions. They're all saying the same thing. He describes it like, there's 7 main religions, and it's like they're just like past at the bottom of the mountain. The top of the mountain's God. They all look different at the bottom, but they all lead to the same place. Good book.
Do you guys, Stephan or Scully, have you heard of? There's a place in West Virginia called the Palace of Gold. Have you guys heard of that? Probably.
No. What's that?
So it is literally called the Taj Mahal of America, and it's a Hare Krishna religion. But it's weird, it's anyway, so you would like go into the woods of West Virginia and drive up these mountains per se, they're really giant hills, but you drive up there and literally it's like a thing that's like the Taj Mahal, like millions and millions of dollars. It's something that would Hare Krishna, and I don't know anything about it, so everything I say is going to be wrong or ignorant, but it's an offshoot of some kind of Indian religion, right, where they believe in Hare Krishna. But somewhere along the way, at one point, that religion got offset, and they were kind of. I don't believe they are now. I think they went through some stuff, and I'm of course not trying to persecute them publicly or anything, because I think that all stuff is documented. They were kind of bad at some point. We're doing some bad stuff, but they're not anymore. They're still around, and from what I understand, they're good people. But anyway, it's a really cool thing. If I can get it up on the screen. Didn't I pull it up for you, Jeff, one time?
No, we on the last podcast with Matt.
Yeah, we looked into that.
We watched really a lot of stuff, and just the whole Hare Krishna name creeps me out a little bit. Because Harry anything.
You don't like saying
but
the word Harry? Is it because
you like really don't like Harry Potter?
Harry Potter
Krishna is just a character from Hinduism. He's the avatar of the age. He's like Jesus. He just came at a different time. I'm not too sure who the Hare Krishna got, what they represent or anything. But you shouldn't just shit on Krishna. That's like shitting on Jesus.
Like, didn't these guys molest kids and stuff?
So do Catholics. So am I going to assume anyone who's Catholic for child?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the most horrible things have been done in the name of religion. That's the problem with it, It's like,
yes,
they usually start off good, and then money comes in, corruption, and then bad people, and then you get child molestation, and they get defunct.
Not nice to the child molester.
Finally, we're going down the road I want to go down. Yes.
So if you guys can see my video on there, this is it. I know. Can you see it, Tom or Jeff?
Yeah.
So that's it. Like this thing, literally, they call it Palace of Gold. I mean, that's some kind of form of something. But yeah, so this is here. It's like kind of a secret thing. Like people will go up there. I mean, this thing is like, and literally you have to go down these back roads and sneak in. Not really because they take on a tour, but
wow.
it's not any, like when you get up there, you're just shocked. You're like, this is in the hills of West Virginia. Like, it's not like a tourist attraction or anything. It's secret, right? And that's, as you can see, it's like on top of a mountain, hidden away.
Wow.
Millions and millions of dollars they spend on this thing that nobody knows about. And they call it the Taj Mahal of America. I mean, it's unreal. But it's the Hare Krishna religion, and it's interesting. Like, so I think, like, just like Jeff said, or all you guys were saying, like, at some time there's obviously some bad stuff, and it's not like that anymore. All religions have some bad stuff, but if anything, the fact from what they understand of the story was that all these guys had no building experience, didn't know what they're doing. They had all this money, imported a lot of stuff from France, Italy, did all this stuff. To me, that's like amazing and a miracle that these random people with no money and nothing in West Virginia built this thing that's crazy. You know? But anyway, you know, it's pretty cool. I was in there, you know, like, and took a tour, and as much as that you've seen, it was beautiful. I wish I knew more about their stuff, so I wasn't as ignorant and didn't probably talk as bad as I do, right? You know, but it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, if you can see a video, it's amazing. So.
Yeah, look at the Christians and the Crusades and the number of people that were killed during those ages, and the Catholics, and the molestation of Muslims, and all the killing that's done in there. I mean, yeah.
What is the difference?
Terrible things humanity has ever known been done.
What's the difference between Hinduism and Buddhism for you guys?
What's that?
What's the difference between Hinduism and Buddhism, or any? You know, to me, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Are they same?
Well, no. Buddhism and Hinduism, way different. Hinduism is all about like love, you know. And Buddhism is all about meditation and having that crystal clear mind, you know.
So do they not?
It's not about God, really. Like,
do
that's what.
They use meditation, or not really?
What's that?
Do they both use meditation, or more of that's a Buddhist thing?
That's a Buddhist thing.
Really? Because meditation, like
bhajan. Hinduism's bhajan, singing to God, singing holy songs.
Meditation seems like something we all should do. I don't do it either, but I like when people talk about it. I'm like, man, I should do that. Like,
definitely.
What's that? Go ahead.
I do meditation, except for like recently I've been out of my freaking element with this whole quarantine thing.
So when you,
but I've tried to do the.
Do you actually do anything? Like, what do you do? Do you sit there? Do you talk? Like, do you say, I need to, when somebody goes, I concentrate on my breath, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Like, every time I hear that, I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? What's an explanation for that? You know?
I'm not educated. I don't know that I'm.
Just get
I'm
a mantra, man.
Exactly.
You want to meditate? Get a mantra.
What's that mean? So you just say the same word over and over?
Mantra. Just say Aum over and over. Aum.
Or you
Aum with every breath. That's it. There's a bunch of Tibetan mantras that are a lot more. I mean, simple one. Yeah.
What are Tibetan? Is Tibetan people a different religion, or are they Buddhist?
Tibetan Buddhism.
Tibet. What are Shaolin monks? I'm asking. I don't know why I'm asking all these questions. I'm trying to figure out.
Buddhist monks.
So So to me, it sounds like Buddhism is more popular than Hinduism, or am I still wrong? Because
Hinduism comes from India.
Is that Hinduism?
Listen, Matthew can speak on Hinduism, right, Matthew?
Oh gosh, I mean, I grew up with a lot of Hindus, but I'm not an expert on Hinduism at all. My parents are from India, so I know a little bit.
So, but the last time we talked, you're a Christian anyway. I believe you said anyway, but but you would know more than I. Obviously, everything. I'm just like spitballing stuff and throwing it out there because clearly I'm ignorant. But
he's Indian. He knows everything about it. Matthew, you know everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll at least pretend to know everything. Does that count?
See, that's what I'm talking about.
You could tell us about Hinduism. Why am I talking?
But you seem to know kind of more than the biggest difference for me.
I'm not into it, but if you're from India, then you should know all about the history of it.
My parents are, but I mean, the biggest difference between Hinduism, Buddhism for me was I think it was well, one Hinduism in total it is much bigger in relation to India and South Asia. Most of the country is Hindu, um, but there's so many different sects of Hinduism, almost like just like Christianity. There's 16,000 different sects of Christianity. There's going to be there's a huge variety of Hinduism and Buddhism too. But because Hinduism is a much larger religion, you're going to find a bigger variety of groups. But the biggest difference is the concept in Hinduism when it comes to gods that there are millions of gods, right? And Buddhism is more about seeking a universal truth through meditation and trying to make yourself pure, whatever that means to you. I guess there's also different sects of Buddhism. I'm not an expert on which one's which.
Matt, first we need to clarify: are you Asian or Indian? We need to get that.
I mean, I'm both. I am Asian because India is part of Asia. I mean, geographically speaking, I guess I'm Asian. I don't know what to put on the SAT. That was the hardest question, honestly, for me.
I just remember that was a topic last time we had a podcast, and that was a joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because it's funny when people ask, they're like, "You're not Asian." I'm like, "Well, I mean, I am. Sorry that I'm not Asian in a lot of people's heads."
I'm sorry, this is rude, but I'm Ange Fitco. She's part of the.
Hey guys.
Hiya.
Hi, Ange.
Sorry, I just crashed the party for a second. I just want to stop in and say hi.
Just a second. That's all you got.
That's all I got. You know I can't keep it to a second, Butch.
Yeah, what are you up to?
Loudmouth, are you kidding me?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Well, first of all, Butch, you have Teletubbies in the background. I'm a little disturbed by that.
It's just what I do.
Like I walk in and I sit down and all I see is Butch with Teletubbies in the background.
Yeah.
That's creeping me the creep out.
Well, they shouldn't, because it's just my life, What do you think about what's in the background now?
I have no idea what's going on. I think you're tripping.
That's the point. Yeah, I put that on because of our conversations.
Oh, okay. I was not privy to this conversation.
Don't worry, I'll choke her later.
Yeah. That's the next video.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. We were talking about like he likes to choke you and spit in your mouth or something like that.
Wait, what?
No, that's what she likes.
Oh my gosh. I've walked into the wrong spot of the podcast, I see.
Well, you're just a little late. It's okay.
I'm a little late to the party. That's all right.
That's all right. It's all good. Well, I forget whatever. Somebody was talking about something. I forget what they were talking about. But
Matt was talking about religious stuff, I think.
Well, if I keep talking, I'm just going to make myself look like a fool because I really don't know that much, as much as I should.
Yeah,
I should say.
Do you? This is just going to be stupid, but it's just to switch the conversations. Do you ever do comedy? What happens when you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something everyone should be able to laugh at, whether it's
But they won't, will they?
No, they no, they won't because we've had religion for all of human history. All of written human history. It's been around forever. We joke about what we're used to, and I love joking about religion because it's a wide variety of topic. But with any category of jokes, there's a right way to joke about it, and there's a wrong way to joke about it. Like if you're a famous comedian and everyone knows that you make fun of religion a lot, you go in there, that's your crowd. But if you go in to an open mic or a crowd that's not there to see you and you just start calling everyone that believes in a God an idiot, you're not going to get laughs. You gotta make jokes that even if people are religious and go like, huh, you know what, that is funny. Like I have a joke, I have a couple of Jesus jokes, but I have a set about how it's messed up that Jesus was nailed to a cross and he's a carpenter. the funny thing is just like the irony of being nailed down to a piece of wood and you're a carpenter, not saying anything whether about Jesus is real or not.
Yeah. So, I mean, and what happens when you say that joke?
So that joke usually goes pretty well, and then I have another joke. The punchline is the similarities between 50 Shades of Grey and the Bible is that someone gets tied down and nailed, and
I mean, that's pretty funny already.
yeah, and that one goes well, but it's not a topic I can stay on for long before people are like, all right, he's staying on religion too long, and I don't like that because it starts to get offensive for some people.
Yep.
So
You know the one about the priest and the rabbi sitting on a bench, and the little boy cruises by on a bicycle, and the priest looks at the rabbi and is like, "Hey, let's screw him." And the rabbi says, "Out of what?" Is that bad? That's a bad one, right?
In West Virginia.
What? I got one. Why didn't Buddha clean under his couch?
Oh, no.
Why?
Because he had no attachment.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
All right, God and Satan were walking down the street together, right? Jesus and Satan, right? And then over in a shiny, brilliant piece, the object goes past them, and Jesus goes, "Oh, look, it's truth." And Satan goes, "Oh, here, let me organize it. Religion." That one's a little.
It's a little. That one's for the mushroom crowd, I think, maybe.
Yes.
That one was meta.
A little farther out.
So,
But the whole point is when you try to organize truth, then in comes the child molesters. That's the point.
yeah. It happens, right?
It happened.
I think anytime you give some guy some power, they're gonna use it for sexual purposes, unfortunately, right? I think.
I mean,
I
well,
mean, just that whole lifestyle of repressing, the whole priesthood is total repression of your sexual energy.
Yes.
no, I couldn't agree more with
Shame.
Stefan that you're creating a dangerous situation by putting these people, making them
Not
celibate,
allowing them to marry, yeah.
and the worst part, well, not the worst part, but one of the most horrid things that happens is how the church reacts. I mean, there's so many cases that of just like recycling those priests into different communities that don't know them, or they send them to a camp, give them a slap on the wrist, and then put them just in another place where people don't know them. They just move around these guys because
Yeah.
they
Did you
don't
see
want the
that
bad
movie?
PR
You
spotlight.
see that movie, the Two Popes with Anthony Hopkins?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's incredible.
It's good, man. It's good. But yeah, it's it. Like he comes down and says, yeah, the one priest, the one pope tells, like, sort of his path, and then Hopkins is like, yeah, well, I got a little shit on my plate too. The one priest and all that. Yeah, I just moved him around. And he kept doing it.
So they know in that movie? I mean, they're not.
They address it. I mean, it's not the movie, but it's this one part. It steals the movie. It's a hell of a scene. Great.
But in essence, I mean, are they? It obviously could be whoever made the movie, but are they saying like, "Hey, I know," like they know they're doing something wrong, or no, not really? I mean, they have to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the church.
Yeah. Well, that's it in the movie. Like they were reports of him like misconduct among the priests. Instead of firing him, they just kept moving him around to different places.
I mean, the church has to track their numbers on their priests and who they're moving around. So they knew for decades what was going on. But it wasn't until the 80s when the Boston Globe blew the story up, and they were they figured out the numbers on how many priests are being moved around, how many cases of priests molesting children are actually out there. So this blew up in the 80s when the articles started coming out. But I mean, who knows how long it was going on for?
Crazy. Well, I mean, that sounds like it. I mean, not that I want to watch something about molesting kids, but it sounds like it's better than I thought it was. So.
No, the whole movie's not about. It's a good movie. It's about just watch. I don't want to ruin it. It's not. It's just one little scene they kind of touch on that.
No, I saw them, and they look good. Anything actually, Anthony Hopkins is pretty good, right? He's awesome, actually. So I'm sure it's good. I'm gonna have to plug this thing in, or my computer's gonna die, unless you guys are doing something. But have to run. What else is on your topic? I gotta get a plug or something. Hold on a second.
I have a question for Stephan.
Yes.
So you have done a lot of exploration when it comes to religion, and especially Eastern religions, it sounds like. Did you go and do any traveling to areas that practice these religions to have an understanding?
No, I mean, I just lately been getting into Hindu. I was raised and went to a Christian church and all that, but just lately been digging Hinduism. But yeah, when I was in Thailand, I went to a couple temples and shit. They're a Buddhist culture, so went to some Buddhist temples. It was pretty cool.
Now, I'm assuming you were in Thailand for fighting, right?
Yeah, I mean, I go there and train. I've been there like 3 times. It's awesome there. You stay like a month. It's just like just totally get away from the world. So cheap there too. Actually, like after the plane ticket was saving money because this is 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I stayed at this hotel. Right, it was right by the gym too. It was nice. Had a window AC unit, a little fridge, a shower, everything you need. And she made breakfast and dinner every day. The lady, there was about a dozen rooms, small little place. And she did my laundry, and I rented a motorbike from her. At the end of 21 days, I went to pay my tab, and it was $300.
My goodness. Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories about how it's such an inexpensive place to visit. But $300 for 3 weeks of all that's incredible.
Yep. I stay at the Radisson where you get ripped off a lot, but I get on the other side of the highway and the real highway. And it was right by the gym I trained at. Pretty awesome. Nice, because we go out our craziness. It was like a half-hour motorbike ride. Traffic to get there, so it kept me trained.
Sorry about that. Hey, I was going to ask you a question real quick. That we're talking about like when people got oppressed, right? Especially like religion, then that weird things happen. So when you're in Bahrain, right? They can't even get porn or anything on their computer. Is that correct? They're on the internet.
Oh no, you can't even spank it there. It's blocked. Like, yeah, I tried to get a wank out and like it does not allow websites to load. It's just the site is prohibited.
How does that even work? I mean, like you know what I mean? Like I get it in a one level, but the another level, I'm like, I can't imagine somebody can censor the entire internet, right? You know what I'm saying? Or you can't.
But in Bahrain's like it's supposed to be like it's the only place where there's alcohol. And, it's like the supposedly the eye of Allah doesn't see Bahrain. There's bars and drinking and it's supposed to be like the real liberal part of the Middle East, but it like compared to America, oh my God, so
crazy, huh?
yeah, like you can't date a one. I was the guy who drove around. I went there with Jardine and Rich Frank, and we visited some bases and taught jiu-jitsu and whatnot. But the guy carting us around was from Bahrain. So, of course, I picked his brain about the culture and everything. Like, what dates? When you take a girl to movie, so, oh, no, you can't. No way. The date with the girls, you go to her house with her parents. That's it. Like, you are not allowed to take them anywhere until you're married. Like, holy shit. And then you're driving around, going to places, and there's always, like, these angry crowds, like, protesting, And I'm like, fuck, like what's, what is it? Is this common there? Like they protest a lot there. And then I asked them, I'm like, you guys got any comedy clubs here? And he had no idea what I was even talking about. I had explained to him the whole concept of comedy club. And he had, just thought it was, and he didn't understand it.
You're like, comedy? No, you can't make fun of
Like,
nothing.
yeah, a guy gets on stage and he makes you laugh. What? How can someone make you laugh? He just
That's hilarious, really.
got one fucking comedy club in the whole country. What? No, I've never heard of it.
You're like, do you watch funny movies or anything? They're like, no, only serious.
Apparently not. No.
That's crazy, huh?
Pretty bitter out there.
So yeah, that's why I've never been there. Like, I think we talked about it before. I've had a friend there, and he said the same thing. I think he was thinking of living there because the sheiks were offering him so much money to teach jujitsu, right? Like, you can get pretty sweet deals. Like, I just teach jujitsu, and it's unreal amounts of money. But then he was like, once you get off the hotels per se, I wouldn't say resorts because I don't think there was resorts, but he just said like where all the tourists were, he's like, it's just, there wasn't nothing to do. And it just, I don't know. He just thought it would just be miserable. And probably kind of what you're saying too is probably kind of true, right? Maybe you don't want to.
I never felt so hated in my life. I felt like a person in the South in like the 60s,
Yeah, that's wild,
like,
isn't it?
I just could feel it, man. Like they made me miss my flight. They were just so like hated. Ugh.
And that's a more, because they hate Westerners, right? Or American.
Yep.
Yeah, that's wild. But
Pretty much if you're white, If you're white, they hate you.
Which is not that was on my target list, but honestly, that's why I think, I don't know, but yeah, like I'm into goofy shit, right? Like UFOs and all that stuff. I'd love to go to Egypt, like not that that's a UFO thing, but stuff like that, right? I would love to go
The
see
pyramids, man. Fuck yeah.
But I didn't because of the kind of that thing. I'm like, man, I don't want to. It just seems like that area in general are just obviously Western or anti-American. Or I was like, man, I just don't want to be hated. You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of take away from the fun that I was going to have.
Hey, Butch.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought maybe like with everything going digital and all of our information being on these screens, that maybe we're like repeating the same thing that happened to the Aztecs, where there's no like record of any written language or culture, like where everything's going to disappear into the ether?
For sure. I mean, honestly, that's a good point. Obviously, I don't know. It sounds like you thought about it too, but no, I think so, right? It doesn't make sense, right? Because I watched something today where they were talking about the same thing. Like obviously I've seen a million of those things. Like, how do these amazing cultures that have built amazing things that we can't technologically even figure out how they did now, right? Or it'd take us forever. And they just literally disappear off the face of the earth, right? It just makes sense.
Because the linear form, the linear theory of evolution is just a theory, man. You ever hear of like the Yuga cycles?
No. What is that?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm sure our Indian friend could tell you all about it. You probably know more about it.
Oh, I could
Our
not.
Indian friend. Hey.
Okay,
Our Indian
but how else? What do you like? Our theory of evolution was man was really prehistoric and Cro-Magnon and lived in caves and grunted and all that, and then we evolved and probably what we are today. Doesn't make any sense, and you just mentioned it. The Great Pyramid is proof of that. Like, like that. Those were 7,000 years old. Anyways, the Yugas in that Yuga, or this is like 12,000 BC to like 7,000 BC. We were like, there was only the world, and there were like, gods and people could live to like 300 years and all that. And each progressive Yuga, the bull of truth lifts one of his legs off the ground. So the second Yuga, a little truth is lost, and now people are only, 200 years. And then the third Yuga, a little more truth is lost. And then finally the Kali Yuga. And this is all based on the position of the sun, the earth, the sun, and all that, and based on astronomy. It's pretty far out system. But it really makes sense when you think of all these, like the Great Pyramid and all these structures that were over 7,000 years old. And then you go to the Kali Yuga, and the Kali Yuga roughly is from 500 BC to 500 AD, and that's like the Dark Ages. And you go through all, like if you look through all sections of the world at that time, it was in its darkest state. Now we're coming back out of the Kali Yuga and heading. Now we're getting into the Dwapar Yuga. It's the energy, the electric age. And it's crazy. The Sri Yukteswar, Yogananda's guru, wrote this book in 1894. And he talks about all this shit with astrology, electricity, magnetic fields, 20 years before Einstein even discovered the theory of relativity. It's really far out. Anyways, it says we ascended, from God, and we descend 12,000 years down through the Kali Yuga, and then upward ascend again from, back up to the Sat Yuga. So and that's a cycle, things linear. There's, each one of these cycles takes 24,000 years.
Hey, Stephan.
Yeah.
Stephan, are those Kali Yugas, are they the same guys that were in Temple of Doom, right?
Oh, Kali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No relation?
No, Kali is a god in Hinduism, but the goddess of birth and death. And that's why they call it the Kali Yuga, because, it's she's people are getting born and dying at a much faster rate, and the population's really increasing. Back 12,000 years ago, there were probably only a couple million people on the entire planet. Now there's like 7 billion. The population's like, I think I heard something crazy, from like 1950 to 1980 it doubled, and from 1980 to now it doubled again. So yeah.
So
There's a lot of
Pretty far
people.
out, but it makes sense though. Like I don't know.
so it's the Kali
I
Yuga.
find it fascinating.
This is not in the book that you're reading now, or the book that you're.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
All right. Yeah. I mean, but if you just Google the Yugas, and you could just learn a little bit about it. But yeah, the book I'm on now, it's called the Yugas.
The
It's just simply, it's
UGA?
on Audible. I'm listening to it. It's just called YUGAS, Yugas. And then some other books to go along with it. I don't know if any of you familiar with the autobiography of a yoga.
No, but that's the one you keep talking about. No, it sounds because
Okay, it's
interested for
put it
sure.
this way: Steve Jobs had one book on his iPod, and it was autobiography of yoga. He said he read it once a year, and at his wake, at his funeral, he gave everyone he gave out copies of that book. to everyone.
Really?
And
Yeah,
Huh. Well, I mean, that sounds interesting.
it's good, man. It's really good.
Because that goes. Tom, are you into that stuff too? Like, kind of
not
not religion per se, like that kind of.
like
It's all hand in hand, right? Like I watch ancient alien theory shit all the time, not because I believe it. One of the guys actually, what's weird, they were filming a show in West Virginia one time, and one of the cameramen that lives in California now, I don't remember where, probably LA somewhere, but anyway, he did Muay Thai, so he's looking for a gym, so he came here and trained at our gym while they were filming that show. And anyway, he filmed Ancient Aliens and some other stuff, and I was like, man, to me it seems like they don't even know what they're talking about. Like they'll pick something and they'll be like, well, ancient alien theorists say this. And he's like, literally, honestly, he's like, I'm in the meetings. This shit is 100% made up. They just say random shit all the time. And that's because they run out of ideas. He's like, they're on their millionth season. They just make shit up, But I was like, I still like to watch it, even though, because I just like to look at the pyramids and all that shit. That's cool, does that make sense? But and I like to all the conspiracy theories, all this stuff, I like to hear just because it's entertaining, right? It doesn't mean I believe in it and stuff, but
Yeah,
to
I want to
point
see.
what you're asking.
I want to see Scully. I want to see Scully like jab his stucco guy in the face.
I don't have that one on film, thankfully.
Yeah.
You got to have cameras up for this stuff.
No. Yeah,
Ring.
I don't do the ring thing.
No? Why?
I don't know, man. It seems like it could be used against you, you know? It's like,
Right.
remember Aaron Hernandez? They used his videos that he had in his home against him.
Yeah.
No, not that I'm doing anything that could be used against me, but
You're not gonna kill him.
I want the option to do something that could potentially be used against me, but not have that effort to be used against me.
Did you
I
see
You
like
never know when you're gonna want to murder someone.
One,
see the
I
video,
would like the
like-
option, you know?
a couple months ago where people are hacking those Ring cameras and like talking to people's kids and stuff?
Really?
Yeah, they like, because apparently people put Ring cameras it's not necessarily like a doorbell. They'll put it in the house and to watch the kids and stuff and talk to the kids. And yeah, people hack them and they're like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And just like really fucking with kids and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I mean any camera system that's not in a closed system is incredibly vulnerable.
Right.
Especially these mass market camera systems they need to make it easy for people to use. So they put it over Wi-Fi. They make it accessible to anyone with a brain to use. The problem with that is now these people are incredibly vulnerable to people that know how to take advantage of it.
To that point, though, what are they doing with Zoom recently? Because Zoom's being attacked, which is what we're
Yeah,
on
Zoom.
now.
There was a big thing that people were able to go into meetings they weren't supposed to, and basically, going through the no firewall that they have to get through to get on meetings and stuff. And I don't know if they fixed that, but that was happening I think last week in the past 2 weeks,
Mhm.
where Zoom was breached. But also, Zoom absolutely blew up because of this. And let's say this is a completely made up number, that 5% of meetings were being hacked and people were breaking into. Then if you quadruple, or like let's say people are using Zoom 10 times more now, that 5% is going to look a whole lot bigger. So I don't know if Zoom has become more vulnerable because of the quarantine, or we're just seeing the numbers because so many people are using quarantine.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't do Alexa. I'll tell you that much.
No, that's a good call. I don't either. I'm not scared of it per se, but I wouldn't use it. So I don't, it doesn't make sense. Like
That bitch will convict you.
Well, 100%. They've admitted that they use your TV, like they're using all that stuff to spy, supposedly on terrorists, right? Like they can get on your, like Samsung TV, I think was originally, they could turn the microphones on and stuff. They've admitted like 100%. It's not like a conspiracy theory. So like, I could be on the side, which I am, where like there's nothing for people to listen to, right? Whatever. But I get you. Like the same thing. It's better safe than sorry, right? Because all those things, if something did happen, it'd be just, because you could also, if somebody's going to use that stuff against you, they could also edit it to their meaning, to the way they wanted it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I listened to a podcast the other day where a guy, is a normal guy, but I mean, he didn't even have like an iPhone, because he's just like, which was a good point. Like, I think a lot of people gloss over all this stuff that they'll say on the news now, but they're like, hey, we've been tracking data and people aren't social distancing. They've been watching, Google's been, what I mean? And people like, I'm like, that's the part that you guys are glossing over that you really should be worried about. Like, we've all assume that they're tracking your phones, but they're literally telling you now that they can look at your phone and tell you where you've been and you've not been complying. That's kind of a weird thing. Like, nobody seems concerned with it. I mean, a small group are, right? But that's kind of freaky that they're actually telling you, and they can do it. They didn't actually come on and pass a law. They just did it, right? They just said, hey, nobody's listening.
Yeah, we could pretty much kiss our civil rights goodbye after this. I'm telling you.
For sure, right? And like earlier we talked about, this jiu-jitsu guy getting a ticket, right, and doing all that stuff. So what, the fact now that we're probably going to get tickets in a couple of weeks, you don't have a face mask on, or if you're not, whatever, if you're in a group larger than 10, and like I'm not saying like I'm super worried about it, like, what I mean, I will be when something happens, I'm sure. But, I mean, yeah, that's
All right.
some concerning things, huh? You know, I don't know how concerned. I mean, are you guys? Is that kind of something? And are any of you guys into conspiracy theories or something like that? That's not really a conspiracy theory because it's really happening, right? But
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm into conspiracy theories as far as like, like as a potential. If I don't know firsthand, then everything is kind of a potential. Like, I wasn't there for the moon landing, so
Yeah.
to me, it's equally as likely that it did happen as it didn't happen. And I don't really have a strong stance on it one way or the other, but and I'll listen to both sides. But I mean, if I had to say which one I think is more likely, I think it's probably more likely that it did happen, just because that's what I have been taught to believe. But I'll hear someone out. Like,
Right.
I don't have a firsthand experience. How do I know?
You sound like me, where like I enjoy listening to him, and then you have to remember that if I'm watching something on a conspiracy theory, it's tilted towards their direction. Right? That's what I always think of. Like if I'm watching, like for example, some of those old Michael Moore documentaries, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they're all conspiracy theories, but he might be like Fahrenheit 9/11, all those things. They may or may not be true, but I also know that a guy's making a film to put it in his perspective, right? Which is a conspiracy. Like I watched the one on Netflix about the flat Earth, and like.
Yeah, I think that's what the general public mistakes about documentaries is that we perceive documentaries as educational and unbiased, and that's very far from the truth because when it comes, I mean, they're educational,
Yeah,
but
sure.
documentaries are going to be hugely biased to whoever the filmmaker is. And that's just natural. I mean, we're people. That's what we do.
Yeah, which is the thing, and that's why I always say, like, my wife and I have a friend on
Eat your
Facebook
dinner, Chris.
that likes conspiracy theories, and she's a good person, but and a guy, girls and guys, but some of the things are so crazy because even if there's a grain of truth to it, then they start getting forth like so far fetched that I'm like, well, now you lost me. Like let's talk about the child. Pedophilia things, but when they'll say there's I don't know, that Hillary Clinton has a pedophilia ring in a parlor.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah. Did you talk about the stuff they drink or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, no.
Exactly. That's when you start losing me. I'm like, you had me until you started talking about murdering kids and drinking their blood or whatever. Man, I was like, I could have believed you, and then you've went too far. But even at that, like I'll eat, like it's entertainment, just like a weird movie, right? I'm not saying I believe Indiana Jones, right? I'm not like I'm entertained by it, so I'll watch some stuff and I'll be like, yeah, that's interesting, and then I just drop it. Where I do have friends that are like head over heels, where they're the only woke person, and all of us are fucking sheep and retarded, and we don't believe it.
Yeah.
God,
Sorry.
Just an anecdote. When I remember when Temple of Doom came out, like when you're a kid and you're watching any movie your parents show you, in your head these movies are new to you, so you're like, oh, everyone's watching this movie now. So like when I was 5 years old in like 2000 and watching Temple of Doom, and I saw like how Indians were portrayed like eating snakes and bugs and stuff like that, I was like, oh my god, everyone's gonna make fun of me now. Because everyone must be watching this movie thinking that we eat snakes and bugs and stuff. And I was, it turns out no.
It's not good, huh?
You don't? Ever?
I mean, I'm not saying I haven't tried those things. I don't eat them on a daily basis,
But for a fancy dinner, that someone might bring out the monkey.
Yeah, like if guests are coming out, I'm getting the brains out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Monkey brains in particular, right?
I've never actually tried. I haven't tried any brain matter of an animal. I've tried some weird dishes when I was traveling in Asia, but no brain matter.
You are Asian, so
True.
You go to the wet market?
Did
you ever go to the wet market and eat you some bat or anything like that, or no?
No, I don't know what the wet market is actually.
You don't know the wet market.
I've been to the wet market.
Yeah, right.
Do I just know it by a different name? I'm gonna Google what a wet market is now.
It's like where this virus came from, apparently. The Wuhan.
Oh yeah. Well, I have never been to China. When I was in Japan, I went to their one of the famous fish markets there. But China and Japan are very different countries, especially when it comes to hygiene. Just in general. That's gonna sound racist. That's gonna be taken out of context, and
Yeah,
if
sounds
I'm ever, that one's gonna come back to bite me.
You'll be
No.
forgiven.
'Cause you didn't say which one's worse. You just said it was different. That's what.
Oh yeah, then I'll just leave.
Thank you.
I'll just
Stay
stop
safe, bitch.
talking.
Yeah. You're good. It's interesting, huh?
So,
All right, man. Well, Jeff, do you have any other questions or anything, buddy?
No, man, I think we're good.
All right. I'm just trying
This
to
has
let
been
you guys
fun.
off the hook if they're good. Unless
Yeah, this
Tom
has
wants
been
to play
fun.
us a song before we leave. Where's your guitar go? Oh, it's just getting dark. I see it.
We could do it again.
We can.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm always down to clown.
Yeah.
I left my guitar in the car, so I'm not going to play anything.
Well, that's sad. So I've got the Mona Lisa looking at you strangely behind me, Jeff.
Very nice.
It's very creepy.
That's very good. Well, anyway, I mean, you guys got anything else to add or anything or no? Or I don't want to keep you on here forever. Or I know Jeff, I'm speaking for Jeff, and I'm just,
I love when you speak for me.
Nah, I said it all, my friend.
Hey, Stephan, can you maybe do some virtual training for us to show us how to, keep our firearm powder dry and make sure that we're using the iron sights correctly, things like that? You do have some skills in that department.
Yeah, I actually do.
And actually, he's a lot cooler than you've been doing some anti-terrorist work, right? Is that I don't even know.
Yeah, but before that, Tommy Clark trained me in weapons really thoroughly. So before I even went to the counterterrorism school and did all their courses, I had a lot of weapons training.
So when you say a lot of weapons training, is that mostly guns? Are you versed in knives and other stuff or no? Or
I'm really good with the nunchucks, but no, I'm talking mainly guns and weapon like knife defenses and weapon takeaways and that sort of thing. But yeah, just your pistol, your rifle, and your pistol. That's all you need. A good long gun and a good pistol. That's all you need.
So, and your anti-terrorism stuff, though, and I guess what Tom said too, though. Actually, I mean that is a good point. Like, what kind of stuff differentiate? Like, because Steph, obviously you're in the martial arts like me. I mean, you can see all these takeaways. And listen, like I've never had nobody attack me with a knife or a gun, even though I know how to do it. Like I don't know how realistic it is either, right? You know what I mean? Like in real life. But I think in real life you do way more. I'm sure you do way more stuff. What do you think's different, or that's not the best question, but I don't know. You learn more from just tactics of clearing a room and attacking people, right, and doing stuff like that.
No, I mean they're good techniques, and I mean, like the train with the guns, the moving and shooting. That's probably the hardest thing. But when it comes to like the hand-to-hand stuff and the weapon takeaways and all that, it's the wrist and arms and joints only move the same way, So
Yeah.
whether it's Krav Maga or Hapkido, it's still a wrist, all right? So, I was doing that as a kid, and it's really similar. So I picked it up pretty quick. And, with all, we do a lot. You get a lot of reps, and if someone pulled something on me, I wouldn't be not scared, but I'd be able to react. Who knows? Maybe I'd get my fucking brains blown out, but I wouldn't just sit there and let it happen. I'd react. And that's what it's all about, where you don't have to think. Actually, one of my first night doing comedy, Adam Hunter gave me some stage time. It was my first time ever doing it, and I went up there and did about 10 minutes set. And afterwards, some guy came back, followed me in the green room. And he's like, first he was nice, and then he goes, yeah, man, but you should really stick to fighting, man, because your comedy sucked. And then and he was like, I'm like, oh well, this is part of the game. I just gotta, face the fact that there's gonna be assholes like this. and whatever. So I just walked away from him. And then all of a sudden, and this is why I'd been teaching at the CRI, the counterterrorism school. And then I'm walking away, and all of a sudden he grabbed me. He put his hand on my back and my shoulder and says, "Yeah, man, you saw it." And like, I'd been doing it so much that I just did a reaction where I just turned and fucking gave him a wrist lock toss, and like Steven Seagal style.
Yeah.
And, you know, he flew up in the air and he landed, and I spun him and put his wrist this way, you know?
Yeah.
And that was really cool. I was like, you know, I'm going to let you go, but you got to promise you're going to behave yourself. "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry." But it was funny. Adam Hunter saw it, and he totally freaked out. I didn't think anything of it, you know? It was just like a reaction. And then, like, you know, the next day, like, he did his podcast, and it's all over. He told the story. And
Really?
like, "I couldn't believe it. You should have seen. I didn't think that Steven Seagal shit really worked in real life."
Awesome. Yeah. No, my friend had a similar story. He was at a like a fundraiser event, and just cut the story, but the guy went up behind him and just basically kind of put him in rear naked, but the guy didn't know rear naked. He just kind of hugged his neck, but he didn't even know him. He's just like, he's, you know, like I said, just went up behind him, put his arm around his neck. And my friend, the same thing. He just so used to jujitsu and doing some self-defense thing. He just bent forward, flipped him over his back, just like a movie, you know. And that movie, that scenario, that self-defense technique is literally in every movie I see because it's flashy.
Yep.
And then the guy hit the floor. It was like all laid out. And the same thing. He never even thought about it. He's like, it was just so muscle memory. Like when the guy grabbed me, he's like, I just flipped him over. And then he's like, oh shit. But then the same thing. Like the guy was drunk and he's fucking with people. And it just so happened that, you know, my friend,
an asshole.
Yeah, but it's stories like that remind me of why we do that stuff, right? And why it should be muscle memory, because, and that's usually when I teach stuff, I say, hey, and I bring up a story just like yours. I'll say, I usually tell that story about, I'm going to show you this move and I'll tell you real context, but I'll say like, it needs to be muscle memory, because if you think, hey, this guy grabbed me behind the neck, what do I do? By that time, it's either too tight, right? It's too late, right? You just need to do it. And then all of a sudden the guy's like, fuck, what happened? He's on his back. And you're like, hey, like, you don't even know what happened, but you're like, just shut the fuck, like, don't do that again kind of deal, you know?
Yep.
So I think that's awesome, really. So do you ever train? So have you done some Krav stuff then, ever, a little bit?
Well, yeah, that was what, like, that was the one course there was the, you know, the reason I got the job, I went in there, and the one instructor there didn't think like I knew what to do if someone pulled a gun on me. So it was a play gun though, and he like, you know, pulled it, and I boom, like just did a perfect technique, disarmed him, and he was like, oh wow, you know, and he told the guy like, fuck man, let's have him teach here. So Duran's his name. He teaches the Krav. He's the owner of the place. He's like, okay, why don't you just come through? I'll teach you personally. I'm doing an instructor's course for Krav. That way you could go through it for a few weeks to know the whole curriculum, and then I'll have you teach. And this
Oh yeah. Did you? The reason I asked you, have you done stuff with that garrote, which that stuff? You know what I mean? That wire they put on your neck and stuff like that, which I think.
Oh, yeah, his style's actually Krav Hagana. Hagana, and it's similar to Krav Maga, but Krav Maga, like someone grabs your wrist and you like gouge your fucking eyes out.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little more defense and escape oriented than Krav Maga. You know, like, you know, so like that. You don't have to, you know, someone grabs your wrist, like fucking tear their nuts off their body. You know, that's Krav Maga.
But here, just because you brought that up too, Tom, now is a nice time. I think this is a time where everybody wishes they knew, not necessarily self-defense techniques, but gun training, right? Even people that are anti-gun now are like, they want a gun, right? Because everybody's so crazy. And the worried. So there's a couple of videos speaking, like we were talking earlier about Ring and stuff. Did you guys watch any of the video where the guy that attacked that MMA fighter? I don't even remember. I don't even know who the MMA fighter is or nothing. Have you seen that, Stephan, or no? Or
No, someone told me about it.
Yeah. So the short story, because
I heard the story.
yeah, and I don't know him, and I don't know anything, but for the people that don't know, it's kind of the story is like, and I don't know if the guy's still in high school, but he was a high school wrestler at one point. So he either was now or it was. But anyway, at the night he broke in that guy's house, and that guy happens to, I think he was a UFC fighter. But even the guy, like, so why he's catching hell is he was like, look, man, he's like, I gave him everything he had that I had, and the guy kept coming, and it was a real dramatic story. And then so a lot of people online, just like they always do, are giving him hell, like, how could this UFC fighter not beat up a high school wrestler? You know what I mean? But then, a week or so ago, they released the ring video, not from his house, but the guy was trying to get in multiple houses. I guess he was fucked up on drugs, right? And then he was literally like fucking crazy. The videos are kind of frightening. It's like he goes to get in somebody's house and he can't because the door's locked, but he just starts screaming and just freaking out and just going nuts. You know what I mean? It's like he's clearly just whacked out on whatever it is. And doesn't know where he's at, and apparently that's how the fight was, right? The guy would kick his ass, and like the guy said, he's like, I didn't know if he had a knife or gun. He's like, it's in the middle of the night. I assume if somebody breaks in my house, they have a knife or a gun. He's like, I'm just trying to beat the fuck out of him as much as I can and stop him from getting to his weapon. He's like, I don't even know what's going on, right? And then so that's what's going on, and of course, like I said, of course, everybody's a badass on the internet, so they're giving him hell. But anyway, the point is, after you see the video of the ring video of the guy, you're like, holy shit, that guy's fucking wacko, which makes you think, but that is also a scenario too. Like, if you don't have a gun like him, like I don't know what his scenario was, if he had a gun or didn't have a gun, but somebody breaks in your house, right? And you're probably in your bedroom, you better have a gun in your bedroom, right? Or whatever. I mean, that's the other thing is like, if that is your self-defense, you have to have it ready. That's one thing. Like, I teach a lot of self-defense seminars, and I'm all for guns, right? So a lot of girls will say, well, they'll come to a seminar, but they'll still say, well, I don't need to know that, I carry a weapon, right? I'm like, that's great. But here's the thing. It's going to be in your purse. When somebody attacks you, how are you going to get to it, right? You got to think through all those things. Most of those people don't think through all those things. And then, so you've been caught off guard. Are you going to be able to get to it? And that goes for anybody.
I'm gonna go. Hey man, I'm sorry. I'll give you whatever you want. I got all my money locked up in the safe, and then I pull the rifle out of the safe.
Yeah, but no, honestly, that's obviously that's what you say defensively, right? Even like if it has nothing to do with weapons, you put your hands up and you're like, I don't want any. Now my hands are up where I can block punches or whatever and do all that other stuff. But yeah, the same thing. You got to delay enough to get your stuff. But I think sometimes even with the gun, people are just so, they just say, well, I've got it. They don't train it. And I would be guilty of that. I'm not as good as you are by any means. And I don't go to the range as much as I should and stuff. Cause I just feel like, hell, if I pull it out, I'll probably kill you. That's not right though. Right. I need to make sure. Cause that's what I was wondering. And that's cool that you train. Cause it's a good question. I was literally watching a movie the other day and I was thinking, because in every movie, how it is, like, let's say that Tom is holding somebody hostage and somebody just pulls a gun and shoots him in the head, right? Like, how realistic is that? Like, would I really shoot somebody that's holding somebody else hostage or something? You know what I mean? Like, that's, man, that seems pretty crazy. Like, or maybe you could. Maybe all I have to do is look at somebody and hold the gun where I'm looking and they're going to die. I don't know. I'm not that good, so I don't know. But
yeah, don't know if you're in it.
How often do you get to train that stuff? Do you do that pretty often now, more than?
No. I mean, I've done a lot in my life, but like this last year, not too much.
I mean, I've watched your videos because you post a lot. I don't know if it's this year, but last year it seemed like you post a lot. And,
yeah, that's when. That's when I was teaching there. That's CRI. I was posting. That's last year. So, yep, this year been doing the gym thing a little more and some other stuff.
I mean, that's good though.
Right.
We said earlier, like, luckily, and Tom, are you in the same scenario where like this didn't really hurt you, all this stuff?
With what, the shutdown and everything?
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean it shut down, but pretty much like definitely any of the medical that's shut down I'm not doing anything there.
So what device are you doing currently?
I have a couple devices for gyne docs and
Okay.
a couple of urology products.
Yeah, I have like an SI Fusion thing right now. It's called Corner Lock and a couple other things, but like,
I think I've seen that one.
yeah. And I have a friend that's in urology. He's doing Exonics, which is a bladder stim, stuff like that. But
Yep.
But we're all in the same boat. So most companies are furloughing their employees, right, so that they don't shut down, and which is good. At least they're still on some. They might have lost their job, but they're getting good employment, or they're on a salary. You know what I mean? They're good.
I'm an independent, so it's all 1099 anyways. So
Yeah.
I only eat what I kill anyways. So they don't have any reason to get rid of me. They're not.
No, you're good to go. Yeah. I'll shoot you a message sometime too, because that's what I'm doing some distributor stuff now. Actually, really, I'm helping hospitals right now get some PPE stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was weird. It's just knowing people. Like I talked to some senators the other day, some National Guard people, because quite honestly, you hear all this stuff on the news where like people can't get gowns or 3M masks or any of that stuff. That's actually not true. They just don't know what to do. Like they don't know. Where somebody just said, like they're just saying, well, the governors have to go do it. If you're a governor, you've never ordered that shit, pretty much, probably, right?
Right.
So that's all. I'm trying to connect these people with the people I know that have it. I'm like, look, here's who and a lot of times to be honest, I don't even know if I'm going to ever make money off of it. I may not, because I'm connecting people with other people. So in good faith, those people, they be like, hey, here's a couple dollars for helping me, but they may not, and I'm not worried about it.
Right.
It'd be nice because I don't have a job like right now, but quite honestly, we're all in a thing, but it just helps, like being on our thing, being distributors, we know a little bit of everybody,
Yeah, well, I think that's the whole game. It's like that connection is like the real value of a distributor anyways. So whether or not you're getting it on this end or that's the service and the value that you provide is to put people together with the things that they're looking for.
Yeah.
So
well, it's all, yeah, like I said, for sure, I'll shoot you a message or something, just see if we can help each other in some fashion or something,
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to.
All right. Well, getting back to that, Jeff, you got anything else, crazy guy?
No, man, that's it.
All right. Well, I liked watching you eat that banana earlier while we were all talking. You look sexy.
Yeah, you're welcome. Next time we can do this live, I will feed you the banana.
That sounds perfect. All right, guys. What?
Virginia.
All
All right, guys.
All right.
Chat.
Thanks for the
Take
invite.
care.
Hearing from you, Butch. I'll send you a
thank
text
you.
right now. I still have your number.
Okay. Awesome, man.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys, man. I appreciate talking to everybody.
Thank you for having me.